last week, and they think that maybe Jerome Woods may start. We'll have to wait and see. A little bit of a quarterback controversy for Tulane coming into the second ball game.
Yeah, from a sophomore to a fifth-year senior in Woods, because Doak Campbell Stadium will be awfully noisy here tonight. The man in the middle defensively for Tulane, and the Greenway believes it has its best defense in years, is Ray Binford, the middle linebacker. He's good.
Exactly. He wears number 83 on his back. Why? He was a rush-in defensive end last year. Very mobile, very aggressive. They've gone to the 4-3 stack in lieu of the 8-man front. Look for him to be very active tonight.
He looks ornery down on the field, doesn't he? Well, Keith and I will be upstairs, speaking of being down on the field. Say hello once again to our very own Barry Milligan. Hello, Barry.
Hi, Paul. And, you know, one of the areas of suspect of this year's Florida State team may be the field goal kicking. And one dramatic NCAA rules change that will affect that is the fact that the goalposts have actually been moved 5 feet closer to bring them in line with the NFL regulations. Now, meanwhile, the hash marks on the field have remained the same for the college game, 17.5 feet wider. So the closer the offense moves towards the goal line, the more dramatic the angles become. And the kicker for Florida State is a redshirt freshman, Dan Mowry, from right here in Tallahassee, who did not attempt the field goal against BYU. So definitely there could be some added pressure, Paul, for the young man kicking perhaps his first field goal attempt of the season here at home.
You better believe it, Barry. Well, a magnificent evening in Florida's capital city lies in store as FSU hosts the Green Wave of Tulane. We'll be back with our opening kickoff right after this.
At the Olive Garden Italian restaurant.
As Chief Osceola knows so well, the Seminoles own an 11-game home winning streak dating back to the 1989 season. The last time Florida State lost at home against the Clemson Tigers. Florida State 13-2 in home openers under near legendary head coach Bobby Bowden. Always a great moment. The tradition of garnet and gold football. 60,000 fans on hand here tonight to greet this new college football season. Florida State has won the opening toss too. And we will see if the Seminoles have elected to receive or defer to the second half. Tulane will get the football first, as FSU has elected to defer. Putting the football on the tee for FSU will be number 9, a freshman, Dan Mowry. A little bit shaky on the West Coast 10 days ago in his debut against BYU. There is young Dan from Tallahassee Lincoln High School here. And deep to receive for Tulane, a trio of Greenway football players, the deepest of whom is number 34, Brandon Hamilton, a cornerback, 174-pound sophomore, flanked by number 17, Jay Young, and number 9, Willie Parnes. He, too, plays in the secondary, just a freshman, and it was to Parnes that Ole Miss on opening day in the Dome kicked the football. You want to keep it away from Hamilton if you can. Glad you're with us as FSU takes on very young Tulane. A Tulane team, as we will tell you, is absent of seniors. There will only be 6 senior starters tonight. 3 on offense, 3 on defense for the Greenies. You don't get much younger than that, Keith, in this day and age. Quarterback Billy Duncan pacing, the sophomore from Kenner, Louisiana, waiting to get the football, and it will either be Duncan or Woods when Tulane runs its first play from scrimmage. A knuckleball that will be returned by Hamilton. Hamilton falls forward, comes out across the 20 to the 22-yard line. And the tackle was made by Reggie Freeman, the outside linebacker. And yes, Duncan is our quarterback. In 1990, he only threw the ball twice, and of his 2 attempts, 1 was an incomplete pass, the other was an interception. You are familiar with the hard-nosed Chance Miller. Dennis will play both in the backfield and on the flanks as a receiver. And Tulane's offensive line, strongest on the left side, will identify him in a minute. Charles Herman, the center, is the only other returning senior. The returning starter, he and Miller. First play of the night. Duncan nowhere to go. He lost the football. It's a fumble, but he was hit hard. Reggie Freeman, who made the tackle on the opening kickoff, leveled Duncan, who couldn't find an open receiver. Tulane fell on it. It's second down. It did not take long for the 6'1 junior from Clewiston, Florida, who had a great game against BYU, to get through this offensive line. You see that Ernst, Estep, and Herman are all seniors. Bodine is a sophomore. Bruce in his first collegiate start. For FSU, Ostaszewski, Cheney, and Simpson, the linebacking core, anchored by Marvin Jones and that man, Kirk Carruthers, the second leading tackler for FSU a year ago, a three-year letterman. A loss of 1, second and 11, the play clock winding down, and yes, Duncan took too long at the line of scrimmage. The head coach of the Green Wave, and Greg Davis, was concerned how this young man would handle playing in Doak Campbell Stadium. He has not done very well.
Tulane will spend a lot of time at the line of scrimmage. Davis's offense geared towards trying to see what's in the tackle boxes and then adjusting, audibilizing from there. The defensive backs for Florida State, as you see here, Buckley, Fowler, Brown, and McCorvey, are going to be trying to disguise coverages because they know plays are called at the line of scrimmage.
It is second down and 16 yards to go, and Chance Miller is hammered as he comes up to the left side of the line of scrimmage. Carl Simpson, the junior right defensive end from Baxley, Georgia, was the first man there. Number 95, and a sea of garnet and gold jerseys joined him.
Tulane was successful last year, and there's a couple of plays, as you saw in the opening, running this type of delayed draw, but Simpson staying right with him, number 95. Nowhere to go.
The nickel package is in now for FSU defensively. An obvious passing situation on third down and 17 yards approaching. 4 wide receivers for the Green Wave. And Duncan works out of the shotgun, a low snap. Gets it off, fires over the middle. It is caught. 25, 28, not enough for the first down. Sales Jay Young, the freshman wide receiver from Pensacola, Florida, playing for Tulane. Errol McCorvey, the boundary quarterback, you see in your screen, came up to make the stop. And it's 3 downs and out for Tulane.
Just underneath routes, 4 wide receivers. Young working left to right. A good hit by Fowler, but he doesn't wrap up. Young continues upfield, but not enough for the first down.
Chip Clark will be kicking to very dangerous Terrell Buckley. And Clark faces a 10-man rush and does get it off, although it is a poor punt. It takes a Tulane roll, and here comes Buckley from his 29. And he's run out of bounds, and a flag goes down as he comes across the 35 and is shoved into the Tulane sideline at the 39. Scott Sanchez, a reserve tight end for the Green Wave, made the stop as Casey Weldon will head toward the FSU sideline, coming off a strong performance against BYU, and you see the numbers right at 1,600 yards from a year ago. Ampley is healthy and will start. Bennett with the 3 touchdowns against the Cougars. And along the offensive line, Robbie Baker was the lineman, the outstanding lineman against BYU.
Flipping against the return team. First down.
FSU penalized, as you see, the remaining starting lineups for Tulane. 15 yards, or half the distance in this case. McDowell, Thornhill, State, and Brandon Hamilton on the corner in the secondary. So FSU begins first and 10. The fullback is Bennett. The tailback is Ampley. And from the 22, play action Tulane. Weldon down the middle of the field, wide open. This may go the distance. Lonnie Johnson, the tight end. Can he get in? Yes, he can. Touchdown. For a score. Weldon firing the touchdown strike to the sophomore from Miami, and Lonnie Johnson. His first career touchdown grab for Johnson.
Tulane in the 4-3 stack, 2 safeties. You're going to get 3 upfield men, 2 wide receivers, the tight end all alone. No one even close. Johnson starting ahead of Warren Hart. No receptions in the BYU game. The first catch for 1991, 78 yards and a big one.
Mowry's point after splits those narrowed uprights. Timeout on the field. We have played less than 3 minutes, and it's Florida State by a touchdown.
Reintroducing a glorious name for a glorious new automobile. The 1992 Buick Roadmaster.
For those of us who thought that Tulane would not be a blitzing team when they came in here tonight, would be able to avoid the big play early, Casey Weldon made us all look very foolish, didn't he? Watch this as he finds his tight end, Lonnie Johnson, streaking up the hash mark.
Play action to get some people sucked up. Vertical pressure all the way down. Johnson wide open right there at the hash. Tulane going to that 4-3 stack with 2 safeties versus the 8-man front they used to run with 3 deep people. You see Weldon just following a little nonchalantly. Yeah, that's 6. That's 6. Coach, I told you we should have run that play. I told you that was the play that would work.
A year ago, Coach Bobby Bowden rolled over Tulane in a big way. And it looks like Mr. Bowden tonight seeking his 207th career victory is going to put some big numbers up on the board. Tulane begins 1st and 10 at its 20-yard line. Now for this young team, again, it's only seniors among the starters, being Ernst, Estep, and Herman along the front line. Very important here, Keith, that they settle down, or this could be 14-0, 21-0 in the blink of an eye, as that was that first
with Florida State being able, excuse me, Paul, with Florida State being able to score that quick, what Tulane has to do, must do, is keep Florida State's offense sitting on the bench.
Wilbert Erson up top, Steve Ballard at the bottom of your picture. Miller, the lone setback behind Duncan. And this is Miller. Daylight on the left side. Isn't he something? That's a first down. A year ago, Chance Miller rushed for 96 yards against Florida State. And it is a rather rude greeting committee of greenies who welcome Terrell Buckley of FSU to the sideline. And look at Greg Davis. Is he hot?
You're coming into extremely hostile territory in Campbell Stadium, and you get run out of bounds on your own sideline. Florida State people out there. I'll tell you something, Chance Miller, 5'9", 195 pounds. You see there what he did last year. He's not going to walk away from anything, and his buddies aren't going to let anything happen to him. Young team, very fired up, coming into hostile land. They're going to be aggressive.
Miller said he was not intimidated by Florida State. He said those Seminole players don't have wings. They aren't angels. They're human just like me. He gained 11. 1st and 10. Trailing by a touchdown. Only its 2nd possession. And Duncan with a flag down. He took too much time a 2nd time. And it will not take long for that senior quarterback in Jerome Woods to enter the game if Duncan keeps this up.
25-second count. 1st and 15.
In its first possession, Tulane lost a yard on the sack of Duncan, ran the ball for a yard, gained 12 on a completion following a 5-yard delay of game penalty, and then had to punt. His numbers last week against the Rebels of Old Miss. 1st and 15. Miller turns it upfield and is leveled. Double 5. Marvin Jones, who needs little introduction to Seminole faithful, their top tackler a year ago as a freshman, flattens Miller.
There you see Jones, a sophomore, and we think he's been around forever. 3rd-team All-American last year as a true freshman, 133 tackles. You just like to watch this guy play.
2nd down and 14 yards to go. The line of scrimmage, the Tulane 28. The receivers to this side are Ballard and Wilbert Erson to the bottom of your picture. Miller, the lone setback, play action to him. Duncan floating it down the middle, looking for Ballard, and he overshoots him at the Seminole 35-yard line. The arm of Duncan is one which led his high school program in Kenner, Louisiana, John Curtis, to 2 separate state championships. he does have a strong arm, as evidenced there, although he overshot the intended receiver in Steve Ballard.
Anyone you talk to about Duncan will tell you that he can throw the ball. Arm strength is not a problem for this youngster. Coming in last week as a starter for the first time, 6 of 16, as we've seen, didn't perform extremely well. Woods brought in the fourth quarter. Big chance for him here tonight.
Broadnax and Ballard wide this way on 3rd and 14 from the 28. Young and Urson to the left side. Out of the shotgun. Duncan doesn't have much time, does he? Great grab, Ballard into Seminole territory. Inside the 45, the 40, and down to the 35-yard line. How did he make that catch? A gain of 37 yards by Tulane's number 31.
In the game last week, his backup, Broadnax, number 5, made a great catch against Ole Miss. Watch the right hash mark. You got Corey Fuller one-on-one. He gets beat. Fuller's making up ground, can't get his head back for the ball, but Ballard catches it right off his face mask. Excellent concentration, continues to work upfield. The junior out of Metairie converts the first down.
That must help his confidence level. Trailing 7-0, still early in the first quarter. Duncan got it away and dunks it incomplete as Carl Simpson, the junior defensive end at 275 pounds, was all over Duncan right away. No flag down, no intentional grounding. Second down for the Greenway.
Simpson with 1 sack of Ty Detmer last week. One early already here in the first quarter, trying to get number 2. Just a little bit late getting to him, and Duncan able to get the ball off. Fake to the right, roll back, naked boot to the left. Simpson upfield, shoulder, right on him.
The left tackle, Vernon Ernst, the senior, never even saw or slowed down Carl Simpson. The inside handoff is given to Harold Dennis. 2 backs for the first time in the backfield for Tulane. And Dennis, the 204-pound junior, picked up a couple of yards. It is 3rd down and 8 yards to go for the Greenway at the Florida State 33-yard line. Near right half.
Look at that front line for Tulane. A couple of people shifted around. Bruce was a defensive lineman last year, number 77. You saw there, moved to tight end in the spring and now playing right tackle.
Tulane went to the shotgun this year for the first time under Greg Davis to give this young quarterback more time to throw. Let's see if it pays off here. Floating it deep in double coverage. Batted around, incomplete. Nearly intercepted. The intended receiver, Wilbert Urson, at the 5-yard line, had Seminoles all around it. Leon Fowler was there for FSU. One in that pack, Errol McCorvey, was there as well. As you see Buckley talking with Fowler, another look.
Zone coverage, Fowler trying to split the 2 receivers. People matched up, McCorvey there, right underneath. Buckley coming over the top. Fowler doing a good job of playing center field and helping out the threat.
Corey Fuller was there too. Here is Chip Clark, who got away a 71-yarder against Florida State last year in the Dome, trying to pooch this one, kill it in the corner against FSU. Where does it bound? It hit it wide and rolls into the FSU end zone. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Noles. 9:36 to go in quarter number 1, and the Seminoles lead 7-0.
You are
7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now that's barbecue at its best. 'Cause everybody loves to eat at Sunny's. Barbecue at its best.
There's a hang-em high lynch mob coming to Aggie Land, but one mala hombre stands ready to defend Kyle Field from the Louisianians. Head 'em, heel 'em, and stretch 'em out. Tigers and Aggies. Live next weekend on Prime Network.
Jeff's back, and here is Casey Weldon set to go to work. He is now 2 for 2 as he guns it upfield into the 30 and out of bounds across the 30 at the 31-yard line. Eric Terrell, the junior wide receiver, who had 6 separate receptions in the victory over BYU on opening night. Rod McDowell, the left quarterback for Tulane, made the stop. Weldon opened up, pardon me, Keith, with a string of what he hit his first 6 in a row before the incompletion against the Cougars, and he's starting hot again tonight.
That he did. You see Terrell breaking out to the left there. Those 6 catches last week doubled his career reception at 5 coming into the season.
Kez McCorvey is the wide wide receiver to the top of your picture on 1st and 10 from the 32. Weldon looks to set up the screen, and that may be pass interference. Loose ball, incomplete. They were looking for Edgar Bennett, and it was Batiste, number 54, along with Ruffin Hamilton, number 44. They were all over that one. You can make a case here for pass interference, could you not? Did the linebacker arrive before the ball did?
Double screen. Casey looks right, comes back left. We'll get a good look here. It looks like Hamilton, number 44, is all over Bennett. No call. Good read by Hamilton to break it up. Forces Florida State to a 2nd and long. Double screen threat setting up on both sides. Hamilton reads his key, comes to his right, offense is left, breaks it up.
Twin receivers in McCorvey and Eric Terrell. Terrell now in motion. And on the counter. This is a busted play, and here comes Weldon. Bad connection with Amp Lee, and Casey followed Amp into the hole, brings it out across the 35 and up to the 36, maybe the 37-yard line. This was not a design play.
Not a design play at all. Weldon just rolls out to his right a little too far. Amp Lee was to get it on isolation action on his left, our right as we look at it, and now it's just survival. Get as much as you can and get down.
It's as if Casey thought the play was going to the right side. Everyone else went left. Well, quarterbacks make that mistake a time or two. 3rd and 6, however. And the line of scrimmage, the Seminole 36-yard line. Weldon takes the snap. Steps up. The pocket collapsing, and he fires it upfield, skips it up, incomplete at the Seminole 45-yard line, intended for Lonnie Johnson. And Tulane's defense, far more impressive this series than they were when they surrendered the home run to Johnson on the 78-yard bomb for a score.
Tulane with good coverage downfield. Weldon going to his 3rd read, the tight end read. Lonnie Johnson just settling over the middle, unable to get the ball to him in a fashion that he can catch it. There you see the numbers on player. Not a real good outing last week.
Kicking to Wilbert Urson. And he got this one. Hung it very high. Urson makes an over-the-shoulder catch at his 12 and is scooted out of bounds across the 15 at the 17-yard line. Well, Scott Player, the 5th-year senior, wanted some consistency. A week ago, he had knocked 153 yards, but also had a shank of 13. Bobby Bowden will be very proud of his senior kicking specialist there as he booms it 52 yards with great hang time.
Consistency is the word there with Player. Everyone knows he can do it. Can he do it when he needs to?
And can Billy Duncan do it on Tulane's 3rd series? With a clap of the hands, the green wave up to the line of scrimmage. Charles Herman, the 264-pound senior center, bends over the football. He's a Florida native from Panama City. A new running back, Sean Fagan, a sophomore, the lone setback behind Duncan. He'll take the football here and cut upfield. He dives across the 20 out to the 22-yard line. Kirk Carruthers, a senior linebacker, knocked him down.
Tulane staying with a 2 tight end, 2 wide out, just run the ball, off tackle, 1 back set. Get a good look at Carruthers there calling the defensive signals. Again, as we indicated on their earlier drive, the key now is to keep control of the ball. They were successful last time, although they didn't convert points. Another opportunity here.
A pickup of 6. Ballard to the bottom of your screen. He had that big 37-yard reception the previous possession, and this is a gaping hole off the right side for Fagan. Fagan out across the 30. That's a Tulane first down at the 32-yard line. And junior defensive end Troy Sanders, 261-pounder for FSU, replacing Carl Simpson, made the stop.
Tight end comes down, you kind of slide the guard and tackle around, and your corner gets blocked. There's a seam there. The safety has to come up. The linebacker gets cut off, and it's wide open. Tulane doing a good job of springing loose the sophomore running back out of Jonesville, Sean Fagan.
New tight end, Keith, and Scott Sanchez to the left side. Play action. Duncan up the boundary. Another grab by Ballard into Seminole territory. Inside the 45 to the 43. He got open. Richard Coase was with him stride for stride, a sophomore free safety, and Ballard made an outstanding catch, and the ball was well placed. It's a gain of 25.
Play action look, and then he pulls it back and hits it in the seam. Florida State in zone coverage underneath and behind, and Coase has to come over to make the stop. Clifton Abram, number 2 there, the corner, not close enough on the undercover.
1st and 10 in Seminole land. Down the score. Duncan hands it off the left side. Dennis, who sees a sliver of daylight. That goes away, but he's inside the 40, down to the 38-yard line. Big Howard Dinkins out of Jacksonville in on the tackle. The outside linebacker. Howard Dinkins for FSU, Keith, was not completely healed against BYU from some back problems that he had suffered in the fall, and he didn't have a great game.
Didn't get a lot of reps during fall camp because of that back, and he's having to play himself back into position here.
I'll pick up a 4. 2nd and 4 at the Seminole 39-yard line, and Chance Miller is lassoed. A loss of 4 yards. He was hit in the backfield and knocked down. The man on the stop was DeAndre Clark out of Winter Garden, Florida, the 266-pound defensive lineman.
Watch it working right to left. DeAndre Clark just falls in right behind a pulling lineman, and Miller doesn't even get an opportunity to get started.
That play really stung if you are a Tulane Greenway fan. And it was an exceptional play by Clark to come charging through. 3rd and 11. Miller stands back in shotgun formation with his quarterback, Billy Duncan, looking to convert on 3rd down. Throwing near midfield over the middle, incomplete. There was contact. The intended receiver was Jay Young, and here comes a late flag. Errol McCorvey was on his back. The fine cornerback. And that flag was about as late as you could expect. Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator, is about 4 strides onto the field asking, what was that?
I think that flag came from section 4, about 8 rows up. Very, very intense and studious. Mickey Andrews looking on, and he'll be more intense than he is studious on this call.
Defensive pass interference. Automatic first down at the spot.
Well, in Rod Daly's defense, the referee, there was obvious contact.
All right, you be the judge. It's the right arm. The right arm is what gets on his helmet and shoulder pad. You talk about Mickey Andrews, here's his philosophy. You don't reach greatness on ability. You reach greatness with ability and a lot of hard work.
A lot of fundamentals. In his 25th year of college coaching, one of Bobby Bowden's great staff members. It is 1st and 10. Down a touchdown early. And for the, well, let's see. This was not a delay of game, but it is a procedure call. An outside performer moved, or rather an interior lineman moved prior to the snap, and that will cost Tulane 5.
Ball. Illegal procedure, interior lineman moving. 1st 15.
In terms of penalty yards tonight, that's the 3rd time that a 5-yard infraction has been marched off against Greg Davis's ball club.
Florida State guilty of 11 infractions for right at 100 yards last week. We're already seeing Flag Day here at Campbell Stadium here in the 1st quarter.
At the Seminole 41-yard line, Duncan down the line. This is Chance Miller bouncing outside, lowers his head, is cracked at the 35 and shoved across the sideline by Terrell Buckley with help from LaVon Brown, the strong safety number 31. We ought to mention LaVon Brown getting the nod tonight in place of John Davis for Florida State. Brown, the junior, from Moorhaven, Florida. He's about number 4 on that strong safety depth chart, but if there is one position in the secondary that's beat up and bruised early, it is the strong safety slot, and Brown opens tonight for FSU.
Brown a free safety last year. Actually 3rd team, as you mentioned. John Davis hasn't practiced all week with a bad back. Number 2, Chris Hall, was hurt in Monday's practice, forcing LaVon into action in the base defensive scheme.
Dangerous Steve Ballard, who's burned the nose twice, is flanked at the bottom of your screen. Miller again will drive for a 1st down. Ramming the ball inside the 25 and keeping those legs going. He runs into Leon Fowler, the free safety, and Troy Sanders from the defensive line of the Seminole 22, and Tulane is driving on Florida State.
Nothing fancy. Carruthers misses a tackle. Jones runs out of place. Fowler has to come up and do the job. 5'9", 195 pounds, and trust me, folks, he's not intimidated by anything going on here tonight.
There is a timeout taken on the field, called by Florida State, trying to slow down Tulane. And we'll be right back after these words from Olive Garden Italian Restaurant, where all the best of Italy is yours.
Impossible? At Olive Garden, we don't know the meaning.
Florida State before 60,000 fans in jam-packed Doak Campbell Stadium leads by a touchdown, a 78-yard Casey Weldon, who is tight end in Lonnie Johnson for the score. But right now, young quarterback Billy Duncan is driving Tulane against America's #1 ranked team. And this is a young man making only his second collegiate start. And while he was shaky early, he certainly has settled down. Florida State playing its very first game in history, ranked #1 in the nation in this stadium. The Seminole 22, Miller, again dances outside, and he's a yard shy of another first down. Fowler from the secondary comes up to make the stop. How is he doing that, Keith? That left side of the line is giving him some daylight, and Miller is relentless, methodically ramming for 6- and 7-yard gains.
All Tulane is doing is coming with the two tight ends, whichever side Florida State goes strong to. You'll see here Florida State strong to the right side as we look at it. So they call an audible, and they work to the left side. You got everyone matched up, and if the free safety doesn't come up quick, and if a linebacker gets scraped, there's a seam there. He can run forever.
This is the 10th play of the drive for Tulane, and again they make a mistake. Eric Fillmore, the left tackle, number 74, jumped. That'll cost him 5 yards. Back they go. And out comes Fillmore.
Fillmore, a junior, but a JC transfer. So this is actually his first season under Davis's offense.
Dead ball, procedure, interior lineman moving. Second down.
Out is Fillmore, replacing him as the starter, number 75, Vernest Ernst. And to Ernst's left side, Wilbert Urson is the split end. The flanker Ballard to the bottom of your picture. The big one for FSU is that pass interference call. 2nd and 6 now as the ball is pushed back to the 18. Duncan calls it at the line of scrimmage. Time winding down. He'll get it off. He's floating it for the corner and Ballard cannot make the grab. Buckley was there. Well, you now have put Buckley on Tulane's most dangerous receiver early in Ballard. That will be an interesting matchup throughout the evening.
Well, Ballard's used to making big catches. He had the touchdown reception that whipped Syracuse last year, and a big upset, Tulane over Syracuse. Buckley with a great job of coverage there. It's so hard when that ball is floated in the air and underthrown for the defensive back to A, keep from interfering, or B, the receiver to see it and come back and get ahead of him and make the reception. Great job by Buckley.
Duncan has completed 3 passes. He is 3 of 7 for 75 yards. And Tulane is going to call timeout facing 3rd and 6 at the Seminole 18-yard line. And that's not an unwise thing to do. You have to admire that, for this is their best shot. They have driven the ball twice, but never quite this deep, Keith. And they won't get this opportunity too many times, and their best chance to not the score at 7-all.
Exactly. Tulane doing a great job of keeping FSU's offense on the bench, the defense for Florida State on the field. Duncan and Davis, and you see Jerome Woods there, number 16, planning a little strategy. Very important for them to convert every opportunity they have into points.
His head coach, and Greg Davis, said, look how long it has taken George Welsh at the University of Virginia and how long it took Bill McCartney at Colorado to turn those 2 programs around. Here I am in my 4th season. Just give us a chance, and we will get the best collection of players here that can win for a university that is geographically at a disadvantaged position between the Southwest Conference and the Southeast Conference, and academically it's challenging for Tulane, is somewhere between Rice and Harvard. But Davis has done a fine job, and certainly his game plan is effective here. It is 3rd and 6. At the 18, the blitz is on. Duncan fired toward the end zone. Urson cannot make the catch. He was open. What a move he had laid on the FSU defensive back in McKnight. We'll check that. That was McKnight it was. He put a move on him, and had the ball been a bit lower, that's a catch if not a score.
Knight stumbles, the ball just a little bit overthrown, or Urson would have been right there. Florida State coming with pressure, man-to-man coverage. Mac Knight in on the nickel defense. Urson gets open. Duncan just misses him.
Field goal time here for tiny Gary Butler. He stands all of 5'6". This will be a 35-yard poke for him into those narrowed goal posts. Angle to his right. Duncan Holt puts it down, and Butler kicks it. Plenty of leg, and it is good. Tulane is on the board with 4:16 remaining in quarter number 1. Your scores: Florida State 7, and the Green Wave from New Orleans 3. The confidence beginning to show in Tulane. Rattled early. Duncan drove them. What'd that take? 15 plays to get that done, and Butler drills the 35-yard field goal.
For those of us with good memories, or those of us that have cheated and looked at last year's game notes, you'll remember Florida State was up only 10-0 in the Superdome last year before pulling away from Tulane in the second half. Tulane has always played Florida State tough in the first half. People get a little cantankerous when you talk about, oh, Tulane can't be that tough, because the average margin of victory here at Campbell Stadium is 41 points in the 4 meetings they've had here. But Tulane always playing Florida State tough, and let's never forget about the fact that Florida State went to the Superdome in 1983 and actually lost the ball game to Tulane, the first meeting ever. Subsequently, Tulane had to forfeit for an ineligible player.
For FSU, twin safeties deep. Tiger McMillan, number 33, along with Marquette Smith. Standing back at their 10-yard line, they're telling us there that they don't believe Gary Butler will kick this ball into the end zone. This is Marquette. It's off his fingertips. He picks it up at the 5 and heads the other way. Hit hard at the 15-yard line. And a late white jersey in there too, but no flag. And the ball marked at the 16-yard line is Marquette Smith, the true freshman from Castleberry, Florida, and the USA's High School Player of the Year for a season ago. Brings that one back. Brandon Hamilton made the tackle. Rather than 15 plays, that was a drive of a dozen. Covered 65 yards, and most importantly, Keith, took 4:08 off the clock and kept the ball away from Florida State's offense.
Florida State's intensity not good on the last series. From the offensive side, we'll see what Casey and company can do.
Here is Ampli trying to turn on the voltage. He does. How does he make people miss like that? Ran through 2 tackles at the 20 and out to the 24-yard line, a yard shy of a first down. The weak side linebacker, Shane Wiegand, a sophomore from LaPorte, Texas, number 47. Was in on the tackle there. Wiegand made 10 stops last week against SEC member Ole Miss.
Here's a look at it. If you look at it, it just doesn't look like Lee's running very fast, but you just see opposing jerseys laying on the ground. They can't seem to wrap up on him. He keeps moving upfield with that, I guess, elusiveness.
On 2nd and 1, this is Bennett, and Bennett is stacked up at the line of scrimmage and driven back. He went nowhere. That's rare that you see Bennett have that happen to him. Darren McGowan, the defensive end, was the first man there.
Single back set with Bennett back there. It just never got started. Tulane doing a good job of pushing offensive linemen backwards, and that not enabling Bennett to find a crease or a seam anywhere. He tries to bust it outside, but McGowan's all over him.
The freshman Kez McCorvey, wide left. Terrell to the top of your picture. Possession snap, 3rd and 4. Weldon fires. First down, Knowles. McCorvey upfield at the 29-yard line as he hooked up in front of Brandon Hamilton, the Green Wave cornerback. McCorvey earned a battlefield promotion to earn the start this evening. Matt Fryer, who had opened up against BYU, had a couple of key dropped passes, and he was demoted, and Kez McCorvey, the freshman from Gautier, Mississippi, promoted.
Just a simple push route that he turns out. Kez McCorvey with 2 catches last week, as you say, earning that promotion. Doing a good job of converting the first down.
1st and 10. The Noles with the lead and the football, and here comes Lee. Shoved out of bounds and into the Seminole sideline at the 33-yard line. A gain of 4. For Ampli, a year ago, 16 touchdowns. Is the number there, Keith, that makes me blink. He had some huge games, especially toward the end of the year. He carved up Florida for 147 yards rushing, scored 3 touchdowns. One was a reception. Rushed for 86 yards against Penn State and scored 2 touchdowns in the Blockbuster Bowl. A gain of 4 sets up 2nd and 6, and Lee will take the pitch to the wide side and explode across the line of scrimmage and into the secondary for a first down. First down, Noles at their 44-yard line. Mark Thornhill, the free safety, made the tackle.
Florida State with 275 yards of rushing last week against Brigham Young. Lee with 75 of them. His partner in rushing up front, Bennett, had 98 of them. Just look at the nice swivelness. He runs kind of upright, except when contact comes. When contact comes, he gets his body down, his shoulders, his head, and everything into the tackler, and he moves so fluidly that that's what makes people miss.
Another first down for FSU, leading 7-3 late in the first quarter, and this is caught by Terrell at midfield, and he attracts attention at the 49-yard line. Thornhill on the stop. It's a gain of 6, and for Casey Weldon, that is his 4th completion of this football game. On a warm night, Casey's breathing a little heavy there, isn't it?
Naked boot. Tulane does a good job of getting pressure. Watch Terrell catch the ball and then try to turn back inside. Great inspiration these receivers refer to, and that being Lawrence Dawsey, and that being the ability to run after the catch is made, and all of them are trying to follow in his footsteps.
Here is Lee. He'll have the first down as he dances in the green wave country. Inside the 45, Mike Stade cutting down about thigh high at the 42 of Tulane. Bobby Bowden says that Amp Lee is one of the 5 best running backs that's ever worn the garnet and gold of FSU, and what he has, you can't coach. That ability to make defenders with excellent position miss. BYU found that out the hard way. 13 carries, 75 yards, a single touchdown. Came out after he hurt his shin. Just a bruise. Plenty of people looking on and cheering on. First down number 5 is followed up by first down number 6 inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. Sails Edgar Bennett with Ray Benford, that stout Tulane middle linebacker, on his back. The gain is of 21 yards by FSU's number 22.
Single back set. Tulane, if you can do it, Florida State can do it too. Does a good job of making people miss. State actually gets turned around and comes back to help out with Benford on the tackle.
This should be the final play of the first quarter. Seconds remain. 7-3 Noles. Not this time for Edgar Bennett. Driven back at the line of scrimmage. Hit first by Darren McGowan, and that'll do it for quarter number 1. FSU, ranked number 1, has found that Tulane, a 41-point underdog, has come to this stadium unintimidated. 7-3 our score. More after this from Coors Light. The Silver Bullet won't slow you down. It's the right beer now. Both sides with 6 first downs apiece in an eventful first 15 minutes of play. With Keith Jones, I'm Paul Kennedy. We welcome you back on Sunshine Network to sold-out Doak Campbell Stadium in the capital city of Tallahassee. A bomb from Weldon to his tight end, of all people, Lonnie Johnson, and the PAT by Mowry, the 7 for FSU, and a 35-yard field goal. Off the toe of Tulane's fine kicker, Gary Butler, the 10 points registered in this home opener for FSU. Here comes Casey Weldon, the general. The line of scrimmage, the 22, as we open up quarter number 2. It's 2nd and 10. Weldon on the roll with interference. Guns toward the boundary. Terrell makes the catch. Fights his way close to the 15-yard line. And look at that. 7 separate white jerseys around it. A swarming Green Wave defense could not prevent Weldon from threading the needle to Terrell.
With a lot of agility and a lot of mobility, Florida State trying to get Weldon out on the corner to pressure. Terrell does a good job of getting low and protecting that ball from 3 Green Wave defenders.
This is the 11th play of this drive. Casey with 5 completions, and of the 10 he's already run in this march, 7 have come on the ground, 3 have been in the air. Here is number 4 in the air, caught by McCorvey. An outside spin. Well, it earned the first down. He couldn't get away from the score inside the 10-yard line. Brandon Hamilton, the sophomore corner from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's a lonesome feeling, isn't it, to be out in the flat there, Keith, with someone as dangerous as double eights and Kez McCorvey.
It really is. You feel like you're a man out there on an island and being run over by a boatload of pirates. Quick step by Weldon. McCorvey's working upfield, just turns in, and now it's one-on-one. It's McCorvey and Hamilton. And the key there is to not try to make the big hit, but just latch on and don't let go.
The 6th completion for Weldon. And on the delay, an inside handoff and some pounding there. Edgar Bennett worked over pretty good as he works the ball to the 9-yard line. Ray Benford, number 83, the middle linebacker, in that new 4-3 scheme that Tulane has put in there. Hardy McCrary replaced John Devlin as Tulane's defensive coordinator. And this 4-3 scheme only allowed Ole Miss 1 touchdown last week. FSU has been limited to but 1, but Trenton T. Can Weldon make it 2 scores? Into the end zone he goes, and he misses an open McCorvey. Make that 84, Warren Hart, the 258-pound tight end, and where McCorvey weighs about 182, he's 75 pounds lighter than Hart, but he was wide open.
What Casey's going up and telling Hart is that route is probably designed for Hart to turn inside and then move back to the offense's right, his left. So Weldon led him back like he was doing a spin move. Hart didn't complete it, couldn't get to the ball.
Weldon on 3rd down goes into the end zone again. This time it worked. The Noles came right back with it and scored. Hart, the touchdown. 13-3 Seminoles. Casey Weldon with not 1 but 2 touchdown strikes in the first half alone, and Warren Hart, who had a single reception against BYU. He says he's a better blocker than he is a receiver. Pretty good hands here.
Quick step, quick 5-step drop. Hart's just wide open. Weldon does a great job on a particularly easy pass with no interference and just laying it in. When's the last time Florida State had their first 2 touchdowns receptions to tight ends?
That's the case here. Mowry with the extra point. 14-3 FSU. Casey Weldon has just hurled his 2nd touchdown strike of the night and his 4th of the season.
Watch this ball come right at you. Tight end release, works upfield, nobody underneath, and there's a happy moment for a big man.
Florida State with only 2 tight ends, they said, available this evening. The normal starter, the regular starter, and Marvin Farrell hurt his knee against BYU. And Lonnie Johnson and Warren Hart were to get all the work. Remember Reggie Johnson and Dave Roberts from last season and the season before? Both those guys have graduated. And it's up to Hart and Johnson to carry the load, and they've done a great job in the first half here. Here comes Brandon Hamilton from his 5-yard line. He slipped at the 15. He would have been leveled there by Seminole Chris Keene, number 37. Hamilton trying to dodge Keene, who you see in your screen, went down. Hamilton brought it back a dozen yards. Okay, we have said it before, Keith Jones. Important here for Duncan and Tulane to hold on to the football, or FSU will put another touchdown on that board rather quickly.
Well, they've proven that they can run the ball effectively. We'll see what defensive adjustments Florida State make to try to counter.
A rare I-back formation. Dennis Dotson, Miller the fullback. This is Dennis hitting the backfield, but he falls forward and saves the play. He gained a yard. The first man through, James Chaney, missed him in the backfield. 14-play drive, by the way, for FSU, covering 84 yards. Close to 6 minutes, eating off that first half clock.
Thing unusual is the right-hand column. Usually the time reads a minute and 38, 2 minutes and 12. That time over 5 minutes on the drive.
Corey Broadnax to the top of your screen. In a moment, the wide receiver, number 5, entering the game for the first time. Play action to Miller. Duncan comes to the boundary, or he tried to undershoot, rather. In Dennis, underneath. Incomplete. Let's check in with Barry Milligan.
Thanks, Paul. I'm on the sidelines with Mike Morris, the All-American offensive guard, who is still out with a broken foot. Mike, it's got to be tough for you watching all the action.
Yes, it is. It's the first game in 4 years that I've sat out, home game. And it hurt me real bad when I saw the team come out on the field and the crowd going crazy. I missed it, and I'm hoping that I have a speedy recovery. Next week I start running, and I just hope that things will be okay.
Well, they're hoping now to have you back for the Michigan game, but you were saying awfully tough timing-wise to come back and have your first game against one of the top 5 teams in the country.
I'm hoping the doctor lets me play next week against, I think it's Western Michigan, so I can get my timing down. Like you said, I can't go in the half-step against Michigan because they have a great defense, and I think they won today. I'm not too sure, and I really have to play up, to my best ability because, like I said, it's hard for me to come back, and I really want to show people that I can come back from a broken foot, and to show that I am one of the top guards in the nation.
Well, best of luck with your rehab. Paul, back to you.
Thanks, Barry. Well, the Knowles have held, and here to punt is Clark. He'll be kicking to Buckley, and Terrell will have a return. Watch this from his 30-yard line. Here it comes. 35, headed to the far boundary. Dipping it to 40. To the 45, 46-yard line. Always dangerous. And we have an injured Green Wave player on the field, and a flag goes down 2. Often you'll get a clip in that situation when players are changing direction.
The flagpole is way back on the line of scrimmage, back at the 25 of Tulane. It'll be interesting to see what the call is.
Florida State with the lead 14-3. Timeout on the field. We'll be back.
High-speed Cardinal offense catches fire. Potent cat ground attack is ready to roar. It's D-Day in the desert. Stanford in Arizona. Next weekend on Prime Network.
Watch what happens to Tulane's Ryan Thomas, number 8. He's the injured Green Wave player to the left of your picture.
Comes in low and tries to cut Buckley, and he ends up just hammering his helmet into the turf at Campbell Stadium. You see it rolling off there. No, folks, his head's not in it. But he feels like it is right now.
Shannon Baker and Matt Fryer are the 2 receivers in the game for FSU. The training staff working on Thomas. The flag, the indication was, Keith, I thought, a face mask, but it may have been inadvertent. This is Lee. Or decline, because nothing was stepped off, and by that I mean an inadvertent flag. Amply across midfield and to the Tulane 49-yard line. Shane Wiegand, another stop from his weak side linebacking position. The numbers building up now for Amply, who has carried the ball 5 times for a total of 36 yards. Better than a 6-yard per carry average. And Edgar Bennett, too, is having a big night. 4 carries in this football game. 17 yards. Here comes Lee. What a hole on the right side. Mike Morris will get healed in a hurry if guys like Patrick McNeil, a freshman tight guard, Kevin Mancini on that right side, keep opening holes like this. Morris is going to want to be back in there playing. First down, Thornhill on the stop for Tulane.
Keep a look at Edgar Bennett here. You're going to see why he does other things than run. Good up point of attack, blocking, and Lee just explodes into the backfield.
It's a first down. First and 10 at the Tulane 36, and here comes Florida State once again, leading 14-3. Keldon airborne, or Weldon airborne, and what a grab by Shannon Baker. Put those white gloves up into the air, snared it, pulled it down. Thornhill and Hamilton on the stop. We talked earlier with Mike Morris. Here's the young freshman who is taking his place, Patrick McNeil. Redshirt freshman, 6'3", 280, Palmetto, Florida native. He played 94 snaps, Keith, against Brigham Young on opening night.
When I played 100 snaps, 100 plays was your letter. He almost lettered in a game. Nicknamed the rookie because last year being a freshman was always around but redshirted. Not a rookie anymore.
No, he's not. And no rookie here. Ampley dancing for the 22. Flag goes down from 3 separate officials. We will have an obvious face mask. Mike Stay was the safety man holding on to the cage of Ampley. That is a pickup of 14.
That's the big one.
A personal foul call. It comes with 9:29 remaining in the first half. Our referee, Rod Daly.
Personal foul. Tackled by the face mask. Half the distance to the goal. First down. There's a 5-yard face mask inadvertent, and then there's the personal foul face mask. You want to see Stay just grabbing. Watch the head come all the way back around. Miss Lee over in the Panhandle is not happy right now.
FSU and its offensive coordinator in Brad Scott and head coach Bobby Bowden had designed a game plan with what they called fastball plays. Quick hitting plays at the line of scrimmage. The fastball's humming right now, and Ampley looking like $1 million. He hits it quick. Look at this. Cut down at the 7-yard line. Roscoe Davis, Shane Wiegand from the linebacking core. Tulane plays conservatively on defense, Keith. Not stunning as much as we have seen them in years gone by. Very vanilla. That can make life tough if you have deep handoffs, slow developing plays.
Exactly, and that's why you alluded to the fact that Brad and Coach Bowden had put in their fastball plays. The defensive linemen for Tulane, 4 of them will try to stand the offensive lineman up and read as opposed to stunning or trying to slide through gaps. Therefore, you have to attack them quick.
New receiver in the game, Matt Fryer. Casey's hit 6 of his last 7 passes, and he misses an open Shannon Baker when he felt heat. Got knocked down, did Weldon. Baker had an inside move on the defensive back, and Thornhill was open for what would have been FSU's 3rd score. And Casey simply missed him because of the defensive pressure.
Watch the route by Baker here. He's going to get upfield pressure. He's going to turn out and then back in. Weldon getting pressure in his face, can't deliver the ball, is a little bit errant with it, but Baker open. Weldon just not able to get the ball to him because of good Tulane pressure in the backfield.
128 yards through the air and 2 scores for that young man who may be this nation's finest quarterback. He faces the challenge here of 3rd and 6. The blitz is on, and that left Bennett wide open, and Casey overshot him. A rare blitz by Tulane. Nobody was left to pick up Bennett. And he was wide open.
Well, there's where Weldon gets a A+ and about a D-. A+ for the read and a D- for delivery. And there's nobody of the 60+ thousand in Campbell Stadium right now that feels any worse than Casey does. Wide open Bennett just misses him.
Bobby Bowden said that this young man in Dan Mowry, who set to attempt the field goal, the first 3 kicks he had in Anaheim, Bowden said, I thought he was bowling. They were low-line drives. From 25 yards away, this one, Coach, is more to your liking, I'm sure. Florida State pulling away from Tulane, leading 17-3 in the first half. More after this from NCNB, National Bank of Florida, the Lone Source.
How to improve your home involves some difficult decisions.
You know, we could use a bigger kitchen.
A new bath.
Kitchen.
A new bath.
We could use
At NCNB, we don't think financing should be one of them.
Okay, a bath. Upstairs.
Upstairs.
That's why we've set up a loan information.
Welcome to Seminole Football on Sunshine Network, where the Noles, Dan Mowry, has just booted his first field goal of his still young varsity career, just a freshman. This one from 25 yards away. The Noles have built their lead now into an even 2 touchdowns. The reason they had to settle for that field goal by Mowry is a Casey Weldon off target twice, Keith. Once to Baker, who was open in the end zone, and Bennett, who was all alone at the 5.
Well, we'll give him credit, give Tulane credit for good pressure on the Baker miss, but Weldon will hear about this in film session about Mr. Bennett. He was wide open.
7 plays, covering 47 yards. It took 3 minutes and 2 seconds off the clock. Fumble fingers in the end zone by Tulane. The ball will be downed by Hamilton back there. The drive capped by Mowry's 3-pointer. Tulane with the football back. It was 3 and out last time, and the defense, which has played admirably well for the Greenies from New Orleans, held this vaunted Seminole attack to just the 3. Tulane needs to sustain and give that defense a rest. And if you're an FSU fan, watch those gold helmets come flying toward the quarterback, Billy Duncan, who begins 1st and 10 from his 20-yard line. Chance Miller, the lone setback. Miller cradles the football, protects it with both arms, and fights forward to the 22-yard line, setting up 2nd down. There are a number of Florida players, Florida natives, who are starting and playing for Tulane this evening, including the center, Charles Herman. He's from Panama City. Look at all these guys from the Sunshine State that went to school in New Orleans. Janchek defensively. And for FSU, Sean Jackson, Coward, Adams come from Bayou country. 2nd and 8 after the pickup of 2 by Miller. Bobble snap from center, and Duncan fell on the football. Herman, you know, you say something nice about Herman being from Florida, and he can't execute the snap with Duncan.
It always happens anytime you talk about someone throwing 8 completions in a row they miss, or they go talking about the hometown and where they're from, and the fact they're coming back to the Sunshine State to play, and a bobbled exchange. Florida State with mass substitutions going to their nickel package. Florida State runs 2 first-team defenses. They run their basic first team, and they run their nickel first team. And there are a lot of new faces with the nickels out there like right now.
Yeah, they got 5 defensive backs there now for FSU. It's 3rd and 9, an obvious passing situation. Tulane from the shotgun. Duncan hit as he released it. Miller made the grab. This will not be enough for a 1st down, however. The Noles leveled Duncan. The first man there that cracked him in the backfield was FSU's Todd McIntosh. Tulane's Andy Abramowitz, number 65, trying to provide protection to set up that screen to Miller, but the defense just came through too fast, and the secondary had it read as well. Hunting Clark, 3 and out a 2nd time. The heavy rush, can he get it away? He just does so. He went down, no flag. Buckley with another return from his 27. He'll work this way, looking for interference. And then he slipped at the 32. He was pointing direction to his specialty team teammates. Wilbert Gilmore hustled down and made the tackle for Tulane. A punt of 50 yards. Excellent by Chip Clark under a heavy rush. And Buckley brought it back 7 yards.
Clark's leg is going to get in shape real quick. Had 8 punts last week. Also a little bit of a thespian out there at Tulane. A little bit of a, let's fall back and see if we can get one of those little yellow hankies. No flag on the play, 1st and down. 10 yards to go, Florida State.
There is Terrell Buckley, who's played well in the secondary this evening, and it's always a threat to go the different distance on special teams. Operating out of the eye, 1st and 10. Weldon goes airborne. He has it complete to the far side. Upfield at the 40 and ahead to the 41, the 42-yard line. It's Lonnie Johnson, the lumbering tight end, who already has a score tonight. Close to the 1st down. Brandon Hamilton, the cornerback, knocked him down about a half-yard shy of the 1st down stick that he needed to reach at the Florida State 43.
Florida State running combination routes. You see Eric Terrell, number 7, Patton. His teammate Terrell had run a corner route, tight end underneath. Weldon with a good read converts it.
Bennett and Lee split behind Weldon on 2nd and 1. Here comes Ham with speed outside the midfield. 1st down and shoved back. Some excellent blocking out there. Lonnie Johnson, who just made the catch, had a nice block in the flat. Bennett leading the way as well. Thornhill and McDowell from the Green Wave secondary made the tackle, but not before FSU picks up another 1st down and continues to march.
Watch how Amp Lee protects the football. He gets in traffic, he's a little upright. When he gets in traffic, he gets down. Watch him wrap that ball up, and he's got defenders all over him. When he finishes, he's got both hands on the football.
Terrell wide to the left side. McCorvey to the right side, and tap dancing across the midfield stripe, and right in the middle, that Seminole emblem at the center of the field. Sales Amp Lee. Michael Batiste, the senior defensive end from Beaumont, Texas, made the step.
Some on-field instructions going on with the Tulane coaching staff. You'd be amazed at the adjustments that go on during the ball game. Complete game plans can be altered based on what a given defense or a given offense is doing. And it's Florida State, as much as anyone else, that's renowned for their halftime adjustments.
New tailback, Sean Jackson, replaces the workhorse in Lee. Weldon fires, and he overshoots. Again, an open receiver, this time Eric Terrell, at the 30-yard line. Terrell had position. Thornhill came up and whacked him on the back of the helmet. We introduce you to Sean Jackson, a New Orleans native, attended St. Augustine High School there. The number 2 tailback in an arsenal for Bowden and company. Last year, averaged close to 8 yards a carry, 7.9 to be exact, and he showed that was no fluke when he carried the ball 9 times for 75 yards against the Cougars in Anaheim. He's still in the game. It is 3rd and 7. And the catch is made close to the first down marker by the tight end in Johnson over the middle. That's a tough route to run, Keith, when you're going to get hammered, and you can hear the crack all the way up here when Hamilton and Wiegand sandwich Johnson.
Watch the right side of your screen. Johnson's going to work inside and then back out. And Tulane all over him. And he's about probably 2 feet, maybe 2.5 feet, a yard, if you will, away from the first down, 4th and 1. And Coach Bowden has decided to go for it.
They have removed Terrell and added a tight end. And Hart and Johnson, 2 tight ends. The long receiver, McCarty. And the toss. This is Sean Jackson. Jackson earns the first down and is thrown out of bounds. Inside the 40 to the 38. Thornhill on the stop. Significant there, perhaps, that Coach Bowden left Jackson in the game on a big play like that?
Florida State wanting to get Jackson some playing time. Coach Bowden and the coaching staff not afraid to go to him now, just like they would go to Amp Lee. Toss sweep. I'm a little surprised at the call. I'm definitely not surprised with Jackson being in, but you would think that they would go with some type of fastball, quick-hitting play. This time they go with the toss. And it's a good call in retrospect.
Florida State with the lead, 17-3, and flags fly before the ball is snapped. The play clock shows 0. Illegal procedure, however, is ruled against FSU. The Noles have not been penalized in a while.
Moving on the offense, 1st and 15.
The guilty party, Reggie Dixon, the strong side guard, number 73, the senior move prior to the snap. For Coach Bobby Bowden, the 2nd winningest active coach in college football. He trails only Joe Paterno of Penn State, who picked up his 230th win today. 100,000 to nothing, I think, was the final score.
I think it was along the lines of the national debt.
80-something to nothing over Cincinnati. Weldon, after the penalty, has stepped off. As time guns deep downfield. Another grab by Johnson. Inside the 10 to the 6-yard line. Mike Stade made the stop. Florida State's game plan, obviously, was to get the tight end in the game. And Lonnie Johnson has killed Tulane in the first half. That's his 4th grab tonight.
Florida State doing a great job of keeping the safeties occupied. The safeties are looking outside, and that leaves the tight end wide open over the middle. Now, the next step, something you'll probably see as we continue on and on into the second half, is to get the running back upfield, either Bennett or Lee or Jackson or Paul Moore or whoever, and try to attack that middle seam with those 2 deep safeties being occupied to the outside.
3 tight end formation following the gain of 36 yards. And Sean Jackson still in the ball game for Amp Lee. Picks up a couple as he finds the going tough inside the 5. And right at the 5-yard line stripe is where the football will be placed for 2nd down. Sean Jackson lauded by his coaches for his confidence and the maturity that he gained between his freshman year and his sophomore year. He impressed me with how mature he was when he arrived here from New Orleans a year ago.
Coach Brad Scott described him as having the best dip and lift. When he makes contact, he gets low and explodes through the would-be tackler.
Florida State has called its 2nd timeout as Casey Weldon comes over to talk to Coach Bobby Bowden and the man that we've been talking about quite a bit with the headset on to the left of your picture in Brad Scott, the offensive coordinator. As Keith said in our opening comments to you tonight, this is a rare occasion. A number 1 team playing in Doak Campbell Stadium. What makes this one even more special is that this time, rather than the Pitt Panthers led on that occasion by Dan Marino, this is FSU ranked number 1. in double ones. Casey Weldon heads to the huddle, and we will show you that Western Michigan is next up for Florida State. We will have that game for you here on both pay-per-view and on Sunshine Network. And then following a week off, the Michigan Wolverines will follow, and the remaining schedule, as you see.
Florida State with 180 yards passing. Lonnie Johnson with 130 yards receiving. Now, that's a bet I wouldn't have taken at the beginning of the game.
Lonnie Johnson, a career night for the sophomore from Miami and Miami Senior High School. Following the timeout, 2nd and 5. Here comes the toss to Jackson. The Noles appear determined to get that young man a score, and he high steps it inside the 5, perhaps to the 4-yard line. Tulane's defense, though, has impressed me. Shane Wheaton and Ray Benford, 2 of the 3 linebackers in that 4-3 scheme, stuck those white helmets into Jackson pretty hard.
They really do. This defense will get after you. It's not a defense that's timid. When we say that they're kind of a slow read up front or a soft read up front, it's not that they're playing timid. It's just that they're trying to see and read and go what happened. And it's a very aggressive defense, but playing in a different way.
The tight end Hart comes in motion to the near side and firing his way. It's caught for a touchdown. The tight end score again. The third TD by the tight end. The man beaten was Ron McDowell, who nearly was able to pat it away. You're familiar with throwing to the back, familiar with throwing to the Fab Four. This has become the dynamic duo rather than the Fab Four, and Hart and Johnson, the tight end.
Hart was split out, flexed just a little bit, just runs a simple flare pattern. Great touch by Weldon to lead that ball away from the defender, but in a position where Hart could bring it in.
Now he's a perfect 3 of 3 at PATs. Is out in a 3-point field goal as well, and it's 23-3, Florida State. Warren Hart with 2 receptions, both for touchdowns, and Lonnie Johnson with a 78-yard TD catch off the strong right arm of Casey Weldon.
Florida State's offense becoming untracked.
A 21-point cushion for FSU here in the first half. 93 seconds to go prior to intermission. Checking up on scores around the nation today in the world of college football. We'll have those scores for you in just a moment. There you go. Number 3, Michigan. Found Boston College feisty early. They were playing that in Beantown. Michigan wins it. Washington, little trouble with Stanford. There is that 81-0 Penn State score. Florida in a big way. Notre Dame a winner. Clemson a winner. The only upset in the top 20 was Texas, which fell at Mississippi State. The Longhorns ranked number 13. Hamilton bobbles the ball and then gets past Florida State's first line of defenders and brings it out to the 29-yard line. Stayed with it, and the first wave missed it. Hamilton with a 26-yard return.
We've talked about it before, but oftentimes when the deep receiver drops the ball, the pursuers let up just a little bit. That time, Hamilton able to get out.
There's that Texas upset. Don't you know Jackie Sherrill is celebrating tonight? That's been a lot to him at his first year at Mississippi State, having formerly been at Texas A&M. Nebraska pounds on Utah. Iowa over Hawaii. Bama rolls. And Ohio State, amidst some controversy, picks one up for John Cooper, their head coach. Duncan to Miller. Nowhere to go. Dan Footman. The junior defensive end hit him in the backfield. A couple other scores for you. Syracuse playing in its dome wins. And Baylor will go at it with the Miners tonight at home. And Western Michigan, our next foe for FSU. Little trouble with Jerry Faust, Zips of Akron. 55 seconds and counting here. Remaining in the first half, we'll have the president of Florida State, Dr. Dale Lick, join us at the half. Looking forward to introducing ourselves to him. On the receiving end of the Duncan toss is Wilbert Urson. Upfield at the 34-yard line, Kirk Carruthers, the linebacker. made the stop for FSU.
30 seconds. Tulane not in a big hurry to get plays off, probably wanting to just go in and regroup. They've been effective at times on offense, especially with that 2 tight end, 2 wide out, 1 back set running the ball at Florida State. But some adjustments have been made. Florida State a little tougher up front.
The gain on the play was of 8 yards, 3rd and 4. Final play of the first half. Tulane may not run it. They won't. First half is over. Tulane had played fairly well in the first quarter, but America's top team shows its dominance. And for the very first time in history, playing as number 1, Florida State shows that it deserves to be number 1. 24-3 in Doak Campbell Stadium. A very full halftime show awaits us here. We mentioned the interview with Dr. Dale Lick, the new president at FSU. We'll have that for you. Statistics and highlights from the first half, and we'll enjoy the marching chiefs as well. All that ahead here on Sunshine Network.
Fans recognize this face, but in a uniform as opposed to in a coaching outfit. Stan Shiver, 1988 graduate, taking over. Stan, what's it like in terms of a transition from the field to the bench?
It's a lot different. Still get the excitement, though.
Now, the defensive backs were supposed to be an area of suspect this year. Leon Fowler and John Davis taking over relatively new spots as starters. How have they come along?
They've come along great. You know, John missed the spring because of a shoulder injury, had surgery on it, came back, did a great job during Tuesdays. He's really coming along.
And how about in terms of depth? That we look at the linebackers and see almost 2 deep at every spot. How about the guys backing up the starters?
Very good. You know, when the backups come in, we don't lose a whole lot, and that means a lot down the stretch of the game.
Now, one young man that Seminole fans hope to be looking for, of course, is Derek Brooks, who was the USA Today High School Defensive Player of the Year, and apparently he was very impressive when he came into camp.
Very smart kid, a great guy, works hard, and it won't be long before he cracks that lineup.
Now, a lot of people may not know the Shiver tradition from Tifton, Georgia is continuing here this year. The youngest Shiver, Clay, has come in. Was there any decision whatsoever that Clay might go somewhere else?
It was his decision. We left it up to him, and I'm kind of glad it came down.
Well, Clay, of course, plays center. You're a defensive back. He may have pushed you around a little bit if you had something to say.
Yeah, I kind of keep away from him now, you know, especially at mealtime.
All right, Clay. Stan, thanks a lot for joining us. Paul, back to you.
As Stan. The Seminoles leading by 3 touchdowns, 24-3. Casey Weldon has thrown 3 separate touchdowns, and our own Stacy Strazes had an opportunity to visit with the family Weldon earlier this week.
This is the only place these days where FSU quarterback Casey Weldon is not the big fish in the big pond.
Hey, what you got on there, Junebug?
Hooked on the lure, away from the limelight, hanging out with the guy who snaps him the ball, FSU center Robbie Baker.
Me and Rob working with the rest of the team trying to, you know, sell our videotape of how to catch fish. Perfect cast. I have to be able to work that thing right up underneath the branch and hit the hole sometimes, and it definitely helps being able to throw the football and rod and reel.
It was right here in Tallahassee at the North Florida Christian School where Casey cast his football talent across town to the attention of FSU. You could say both made a big catch from a small private school. It's not a fishtail, but rather a boyhood dream come true.
Pressure coming, and he stays on his feet, throws it downfield, intended for Bruce Lassay. Lassay makes the catch, touchdown, Florida State. Casey Weldon, what a throw.
However, it was 2 years till number 11 was the number 1 starter.
They said a light came on, but I don't know, I was never aware it wasn't. It went off.
Weldon will sprint out to his right and throw his first pass. Hawks the arm. Now he wants to go long. Downfield, he's got Dawsey wide open. He makes the catch at the 420, to the 15, to the 10. It is a Florida State touchdown! Touchdown FSU!
You know, I realize for a lot of kids, you know, we're all heroes, all of us that play on the team, and but we're no better than they are. We're just average guys that can play a stupid game called football.
But Casey is not your average college guy. He never misses Sunday supper with his parents and 4 sisters. He's a husband. He's a father.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear King. Happy birthday to you.
If I wasn't married and didn't have Kendall and a family and everything, I might not be able to keep it all in perspective. You know, I might think I was that big man on campus. But I do wish I could sing and surf. I feel like I've arrived then.
That's why I'm not thinking. That's probably why I had so much respect.
But most of all, Casey would like to be an NFL draft pick.
You know, I got a cousin that's a cleft palate, and I'd love to just send her to the best and take care of her. She's special. You know, those babies always are.
Right on the dirt, and it looks like it scraped with their arm.
And there's others Casey hopes he has the opportunity to help.
I've had so much help, you know, along the way. It's unreal. I couldn't, if I had to thank everybody, it'd be here forever. So many people have helped me out, and I just want to return the favor. I guess, you know, lately I've realized there's not a whole lot more to life than family and friends.
If Bobby Bowden goes on to win this game, he will tie Jess Neely for the number 7 all-time victory. Mark in college football, 207 wins. He's well on his way, 24-3. As we welcome you back to Doak Campbell Stadium with Keith Jones, I'm Paul Kennedy. When you hear the name Lonnie in Tallahassee, you normally think of Lonnie Anderson. Well, with all due respect to Burt Reynolds and his beautiful wife, Lonnie Johnson has had a big first half here for FSU.
Well, it's been the tight end show here at FSU. Here's the first look. First play of the game. Weldon with a little play action fake and wide open. Johnson shows a little speed here. Lonnie putting some of those Hollywood moves on some defenders on downfield. Converts FSU's first score.
That was the very first snap for the Noles. How about that young quarterback Duncan and Steve Ballard, his dangerous wide receiver? This was a 37-yard first quarter game.
Duncan and Ballard not to be outdone. Ballard makes a great over-the-shoulder catch. Duncan do a good job of getting the ball to him. Converts for a first down for Tulane.
Casey Weldon's second touchdown strike, again to a tight end, this time Warren Hart.
Not as far, and a little different guy, 84 instead of 85. The first of 2 that Hart would have. Tight ends accounting for 3 touchdowns for Florida State. Here's the second one to Hart, third one on the night. Makes a good catch and then turns upfield through a blocker, dives over the goal line. Florida State, along with a Mowry three-pointer, up 24-3.
With the big lead, here are the numbers. Tulane with 6 first-half first downs. You see total offense 287 to 150 for Tulane. Time of possession. That's why Tulane is somewhat respectable here. Nothing out of line. This is a sophomore-laden football team in Tulane that has done reasonably well against America's very best in Florida State, ranked number 1 in all the nation. We are set to go with the second half. Glad you're along with us. A very warm night in Tallahassee. Here on Sunshine, end over end. This will come down for FSU to its very dangerous and somewhat fleet of foot Tiger McMillan, the freshman. McMillan out to the 25-yard line. The marker right at the 25. Brought it back 17 yards. Well, he's not a perfect 10, but he's looking to be a perfect 8. Florida State 7-0 when he's at the helm, unbeaten. And he has them halfway home to that 8th straight win under his direction.
Hit along at a 67% completion clip, 58% completion career-wide, bettering those numbers in the first game and a half of 1991.
McCorvey and Terrell open at the wide receiver positions. This is Ampley with a block from Bennett. Quickly across the 30, out to the 35, 37-yard line, first down. Edgar Bennett reminds me of another Floridian, a guy who plays for the Dolphins by the name of Tony Page, with the way that he blocks. Bennett is like having another guard out there, and he led interference, and Ampley did his job too. And on their very first snap of the second half, the Noles pick up their 13th first down.
Has a career of being known as blocking for Dexter Carter and Amp Lee. That might not be a bad career in and of itself.
from the 37-yard line. Lee looking to turn the corner, ran out of the tackle of the defensive end, Michael Batiste, but couldn't get away from some support that came in the form of Brandon Hamilton, number 34, and that guy there, Shane Wiegand, number 47. A loss on the play of 3 yards. It is 2nd and 12 for FSU from the 35-yard line. To the near side right comes Eric Terrell. Terrell with 3 grabs in the first half, make it a 4th here. Dumping it underneath. Instead, Weldon goes to Amp Lee. And Lee turns it upfield, falls forward across the 40 to the 41-yard line, setting up 3rd down, and pretty long still for FSU, which must cross its own 47 to earn a fresh set of downs. Kevin Janchek, the fine right tackle, the senior for Tulane, on the stop.
Watch Lee sneak out of the backfield, play action fake, and then just move upfield. Janchek does a good job of staying close by. He's there to make the tackle.
Janchek, a Florida native, one of the many for Tulane. He's from St. Pete. On 3rd down, can they earn it? No. Bennett was looking up, and he got a how do you do from Robert Gilmore. In that nickel package, the sophomore from New Orleans, number 23, cracked him. That's something Bennett will remember. And the Noles are going to have to punt this ball away. That comes in the form of Scott Player, who boomed a 50-yarder in the first half. He'll be standing inside his 30 and kicking to Wilbert Urson, the split in for Tulane. The kick is in the air. It is very, very high. Up comes Urson. Now he's going to let it hit. It takes a Tulane bounce. It is touched by a Seminole at the 28-yard line. Batted around, actually, and from the 28-yard line, Tulane is in business, down by 3 scores in the 3rd.
One of the things Coach Bowden and Brad Scott wants the offense to do in the first series of the 3rd quarter, 2nd half, is to come out and establish itself. Florida State not successful here in their first series. Duncan and company with the same task. Greg Davis's group, his coaching staff, would want them to come out and establish something here in the 3rd quarter. Tulane hopes to get back in the ball game.
Tulane, in its loss to Ole Miss a week ago in the Dome, ran only 6 plays in the 3rd quarter. 3 and out, 3 and out. They need to sustain. For Billy Duncan, a lone setback in Miller, who'll take the football, protected, takes a shot, comes across the 30 out to the 31-yard line. Todd McIntosh hitting first, and Joe Ostazuski, the nose guard, was second there. Joe Ostazuski, like his twin brother Henry, both 6'3" and tipping the scales at 264 from Boynton Beach. FSU legends. There's Henry, who starts at the left defensive end position, and Joe works in the nickel package and backs up James Chaney. A pickup of bunt 1 for Miller, who is still the lone setback for Duncan. And on 2nd down, play action to him. Duncan deep up the right boundary, hunting Urson, who dives. Does he hold on to it? No, he doesn't. That was nearly a miraculous catch. Urson paid for it in double coverage. I think he had the wind knocked out of him. He lost the ball when he hit the turf. McCorvey was there for FSU. Fowler was there for FSU. This was nearly one for the Tulane highlight film.
Double coverage to the top. Good play action. Urson just runs a straight pattern. Almost comes up with, as you said, Paul, a very miraculous catch. He's still down. Duncan going to take the opportunity while he's down to go over and confer with the Tulane Brain Trust. Greg Davis there with a headset on.
Well, there's timeout on the field while that injured player and Urson's being attended to. Back with more in a moment. There's the sophomore, Wilbert Urson. None the worse for wear. He took that tumble, came down on the ball, trying to make a diving effort in double coverage. It all goes for naught. It's 3rd and 9 now. Billy Duncan to throw. Feels the heat. Steps up, and he's hit, knocked down. The ball flutters harmlessly to the turf. 4th down. Todd McIntosh. He's had a great game tonight for FSU. Number 94, the sophomore from Richardson, Texas. He was there. You see Dan Footman in your screen, too. Todd coming off along with Carl Simpson, number 95, and Kurt Carruthers.
Defensive line for Florida State, somewhat of a question mark coming into camp. I don't think there's any question marks here.
Chip Clark can punt, Keith. He can really hit it. 10-man rush. Low snap. He looked to fake it and then sends this one pretty high into the sky. Buckley up. Makes the catch. Ripped it away from the defender after he called for the fair catch, which he made. The ball will be spotted between the 33 and the 34-yard line. So Tulane has given the ball right back to Bobby Bowden.
A little bit of a hesitance here. You can't do that in the pros. If you do that in the pros, your people will get off the line too quickly because they have to wait till the ball's kicked. But in college, people can release as soon as the ball snaps. Give it a little extra time, forcing Terrell Buckley to the fair catch.
A 36-yard punt. First and 10 for the Noles, leading 24-3 from the 34. Weldon wants to throw, and he has a receiver in Kez McCorvey. Look at him fight for that first down. First down, Noles, as we check in with Barry Milligan on the sideline.
Well, Paul, obviously a very warm and extremely humid night here in Tallahassee, and the Seminole coaches at halftime were very quick to assure the team they're doing just fine. You'll continue to see Florida State platooning a lot of players. They really feel that the Heat may be a more formidable opponent than Tulane. Brad Scott in particular very pleased with the offensive output, even though they feel that Weldon, even though he was 12 of 18 in the first half, could have been even sharper.
Did you see that Band-Aid he had on in the Stacey Strazus feature on him? As he throws it complete, battling for close to a first down, Kez McCorvey. It was a Big Bird Band-Aid he got from his daughter in Kendall. Wife Lori had put on his chin. Can you start calling him Big Bird? We've heard folks compare him to Joe Montana. I like blonde-haired Big Bird Casey Weldon.
There you see his numbers 15 to 21. His wife Lori back in school at Florida State. She actually has a class, I believe, with my wife, who is also back on that 13-year plan.
Nothing wrong with that. If Angie wants to take her time, let her take her time. It took no time for Tulane to surrender another first down to Edgar Bennett.
You just got to be impressed with the maturity of this Florida State backfield with Weldon and Bennett and Antley. Weldon and Bennett, the seniors, Lee, the juniors. They don't get excited. They don't get rattled. It's very workmanlike, businesslike, but it's not lackadaisical. It's with great intensity, but it's with great maturity. And I tell you, you just got to stand back and be so excited about what these three guys are able to do together, along with a very good offensive line and oncoming receivers.
That maturity and ruggedness, too, earns the first down. Bennett carrying deeper into Tulane territory. Ray Benford from his inside linebacking position made the stop.
Bennett especially, you know, could have gone pro, talked about it, sought out some advice from family and friends, decided to come and stay at Florida State. Coach Bowden said of him after the BYU game last week that whatever he would have signed for in the NFL last year, he doubled. And I'm not so sure that Coach Bowden isn't exactly right on target.
Up 24-3. Lee starts left, goes right, breaks into daylight, still on his feet inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. Between the hashes, there may be no one better than Florida State's junior from Shipley, Amp Lee. 195 pounds of lightning. Brandon Hamilton from the secondary on the stop after the gain of 16 yards.
Doesn't possess that blinding speed, but he's got that great agility. And watch as he gets into traffic, he'll get lower. He'll get lower and he'll cushion himself and use his moves in order to make people hit, or if they do, or make people miss, or if they do get a hit, it's not solid.
Here he comes again with the dip at the line of scrimmage, and now the second dip to carry him to the 19. Even running against the grain, he lowers that shoulder, just weaves and bobs. And he's doing so with a great deal of calmness about him in some very dangerous territory along the line of scrimmage.
Florida State pulls a guard, kind of misdirection. He's working down the line. The one thing that Coach Billy Sexton, the running back coach, will tell him, and once you get out there, let's get north and south. Let's don't keep running east and west. If it's not able, you're not able to break it big, let's get what we can and get back in the huddle and go again.
As the waves swirl sold out to Campbell Stadium, Edgar Bennett is hit, loses the football, and then it's pounced on by a Seminole. That was a loose ball. Robbie Baker had to come back and dive on it. Slowed at the line of scrimmage. Edgar Bennett uncharacteristically had Ray Benford, the middle linebacker, knock it out of there. And Baker heads up. The junior center from Fort Myers dove back behind the line to recover it for FSU.
Good hit by Benford, knocks it out. Watch Baker finally find it. It looks like he's going after that bass that we saw during the halftime report during the week. Not going to let that thing get out of the boat. Baker not going to let that pigskin go over to the greenway.
3rd down and 7 now. After the loss of 2, Weldon upstairs floating it. Here is Bennett. That's a first down and more. Second effort earns the 12-yard line. Gilmore, the quarterback, made the stop finally. Bennett determined after making the mistake to atone for it, and the second effort paid off.
Bennett with 64 career receptions coming into tonight. Just circling out of the backfield, getting over the middle. I don't know, Paul, if he was at the first down marker right there, but he lunges that extra effort to be sure that he got it. Great field presence, knew exactly where he was, where he needed to go. You just can't say enough good things about him.
The 16th completion for Weldon. His very first tonight, however, to Edgar Bennett out of the backfield. 1st and 10, the Noles marching, driving at the 12-yard line. Amp lead, dancing inside the 10. I keep using that word dancing. He is bouncing off his tiptoes. Thornhill, another stop. Thornhill's had a bunch of it. 4 tackles tonight. McDowell was the leading tackler at halftime for Tulane from the secondary with 4. Tulane's defense has made Florida State go the long way, and the Noles have been patient with these 10 and 12 play marches.
You see Mancini and McNeil over there, guard and tackle, slanting down, pulling around Reggie Dixon, enabling Lee to get upfield.
And Lee and Bennett are split behind Weldon on 2nd and 6. Weldon with a flare on him, looking, holding on to the legs, and he throws into the end zone. He's got a touchdown! A flag down. Let's see. They may have whistled Weldon down.
They're going to call Weldon down. They're going to say that he could not have made forward progress, even though all he had was 1 foot tied up by a defender who was prone on the ground. They're going to say that he was tackled. Remember, we do not have an in-the-grass rule in college. Field level look. Watch the defender come from the right and just grab Weldon's ankle. He's just hanging on to it right there. And Weldon is going to be called down prior to the time that he releases the ball. Obviously, in pro ball, he would have been whistled very early. Weldon extremely upset. Coaching staff of Florida State extremely upset. But probably, in all honesty, a good call to protect the quarterback from injury.
Now it's 3rd and 11. How strong is Weldon to be able to stand up like that? The line of scrimmage to 13. Weldon thinking touchdown again. Waits, cocks, fires. Caught by another tight end. Lonnie Johnson, another tight end reception. Close to the first down marker. Inside the 3-yard line. The point Florida State needed to reach was the 2.5 for the first. And our referee, Rod Daly, will stop the clock with 6:39 remaining in the 3rd and bring on the sticks. No, he won't. He says, oh, by the way I look at it, that's the first down.
Johnson hobbling a little bit there. End zone look. Weldon's going to look to his right, Johnson's going to clear right to left. You see him right there. Casey does a great job of reaching him. He turns upfield just enough for the first down. Somehow on the bottom of the pile there, Coach Bowden walks away. Call already been made. Gets his ankle turned or gets hobbled a little bit, but I think he'll stay in.
For Johnson, that is his 5th reception tonight. Hart has a couple as well. Between them, they have caught 3 touchdown passes. Bennett driving the pile inside the 1-yard line, inches away from the gold stripe that designates the end zone. Both Hart and Johnson are in the game right now, a 2 tight end offensive alignment for Florida State, which has driven on Tulane. Took over inside their 40 and has been content to knock off 6- and 7-, 8-yard gains against Tulane. It is 2nd and goal now at the 1. McCorvey, the lone wide receiver. Bennett, can he get in? No, he cannot. The ball spotted at the 6-inch line.
Bennett twisting and turning and trying to squirm, and finally at the last minute get the ball across. A lot of strength, a lot of power in the legs of number 22. Weldon getting his instructions from the sideline.
And as is Shane Wiegand, that fine linebacker for Tulane. They dig in on the 14th play of this prolonged march. The toss comes back to Lee, who scores. For FSU to register 6 points. 30-3, Florida State.
This is the drive offensive coaches would have liked to had to open the second half instead of the second series. You see a great job. It's just indescribable how Lee makes people miss him. You saw a great look at it there, how he just is able to hurdle a would-be tackler to stand up, go in standing up into the end zone.
Steve Allen, the perfect snap. Brad Johnson, the perfect hold. Mowry adds the point after. 31-3 with 4:57 remaining in the third quarter in Tallahassee. Florida State leads by 28 points with less than 5 minutes remaining in jam-packed Doak Campbell Stadium.
Another look at the touchdown from a different angle. The results are still the same. You know, Tulane's played the #1 team in the country 6 times throughout their 98 years of college football. The last time, though, was 29 years ago, Paul, 1962 against the University of Alabama. Mickey Andrews played on that team for the U of A.
Hamilton and Dupree back deep. This is Hamilton, 5 yards into the end zone. Obviously, to down it on one knee, out to the 20. We were asking Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator, he played on 2 national championship teams at Alabama, how he would compare the atmosphere here as this team, ranked #1 in Florida State, drives toward what it thinks will be a national crown. Certainly it hopes so. He says, I don't think you can really compare the 2 atmospheres. It was just a different age then and now.
Exactly, and Mickey there with the headset on to your right, as you see Florida State scoring drive. I think significant for it is almost 7 minutes. He was also saying the game in the last 10 years has changed so dramatically that you could spend your whole time doing nothing but walkthroughs on assignments and forget about tackling and blocking.
1st and 10 from his 20-yard line. Sophomore quarterback Billy Duncan, who's grown up a lot tonight, hands to Sean Fagan. And Fagan is flattened by Reggie Freeman. Freeman had a sack of Duncan to open this game that knocked the ball free. He also made the tackle on our opening kickoff. And here he is again saying, how do you do, to Sean Fagan.
How do you do? How's this for a package? 6'1", 237, 4'6", 400-plus bench press, and one of the best conditioned athletes on the team. Linebacker out of Clewiston. He's got it all on paper, and he's proven he can do it all on the field.
2nd and 13 following the loss of 3 that pushed the ball back to the 17-yard line for Tulane. Duncan play action, looks to heave it quickly upfield and does. Steve Ballard on the receiving end, shy of the first down across the 25. They'll spot the ball at the 27-yard line, and he was knocked down hard and quick by Kirk Carruthers for FSU.
How's this for small world? You see Carruthers going back. Ballard, number 31 for Tulane. His father, Paul, played for Bobby Bowden at Sanford, and Bobby Bowden's first head coaching stint, about 25 years ago.
3rd down and 3. Both Ostaszewskis now into the game as Ballard floats out wide to the far side right. Duncan backpedals, plenty of time, over the middle, dropped by the intended receiver Harold Cove. And there defensively for Florida State, Lamont Brown, the strong safety in that nickel package, right there to break it up. FSU's defense does it again. The offense will get the ball back. Chip Clark, the sophomore from Leesville, Louisiana. He has had a busy night. 10 men up for the Noles. The only man back, yes, Terrell Buckley, standing inside his 15. The kick, he barely got that one off, and it is a poor punt. Fair catch called for and made by Buckley, going down at his 43-yard line. More from Doak Campbell in a moment.
Buckley on the reception, fair catch.
Campbell Stadium as we resume action. Sean Jackson replacing Ampli in the Seminole backfield. Sprints out across midfield and drives the ball to the Tulane 44-yard line. That's a first down for FSU.
You mentioned it earlier, Paul, but the coach is talking about Sean Jackson. Another thing they say about him is he plays with a great deal of confidence. He knows that he can get the job done. He's just waiting in the wings, always ready.
The Noles with 5 quality tailbacks at that position. Jackson inside the 40, spun ahead to the 38-yard line. Ampli, yes. Sean Jackson here. Tiger McMillan, who we have seen returning kicks, the redshirt freshman from Kissimmee. There's Marquette Smith, a true freshman as well, and one of the glittering members of Bobby Bowden's class of 1991. And Felix the Cat Harris, who is an outstanding practice player for FSU.
Mr. Spring Practice, what they call Felix Harris. You'll go out there in the doldrums of spring, and Harris will run 5 times for 138 yards.
William Floyd in the backfield, too, for FSU. He blocks for Jackson, who has a yard. The Seminoles will begin to substitute with 2:11 remaining in the third quarter here, and safely ahead, one would imagine, 31-3. Ampli with the touchdown, and Casey Weldon with 3 separate touchdown strikes. 2 to Warren Hart, 1 to Lonnie Johnson. Those 2 guys are tight ends. And Mowry with a field goal and all the PATs.
See Coach Bowden on the sidelines. One of the things that the coaching staff was going to work on doing this week was not showing too much.
Pryor left, Baker right. Weldon on the move, looking for Baker, and has it. First down, Noles at the 28-yard line. He hung that on the line. That is a tough pass to throw, Keith, running against the grain.
That it is. You have a tendency to overthrow this ball. You have a tendency to try to hum it too much when you're moving. Your momentum's moving to your left. But he sets up nicely and delivers it. He goes down sidearm. I don't know if you caught it there, but went down sidearm to keep the ball from being tipped from the on-rushing Tulane defender. Just a great adjustment, and as typical of a lot of things that Casey does on the go.
Weldon has only misfired 6 times this evening. He is 18 of 24. First and 10 at the Tulane 29. Weldon goes underneath, and the catch is made by William Floyd, that reserve fullback, who we told you was in the game. A freshman, 6'2", 224 from St. Pete in Lakewood High School. The man who the coaching staff believes is the fullback of the future at FSU. McDowell on the stop.
The 2 words they use to describe William Floyd is not intimidated. Just a freshman. But this is no big deal to him. This is football just like he played it in high school. It's just more people in the stands, and you get to fly on an airplane to go to an away game.
Talk about not being intimidated. He got in a fight with Dan Footman in practice. Footman, who stands 6'5", a mountain of a man. Weldon into the end zone, and running out of room is Matt Pryor back of the end zone. And there's a penalty marker down, as he did against BYU. Weldon may have been across the line of scrimmage. Let's see. Or an ineligible receiver downfield. Yeah, he was across the line of scrimmage. That happened at BYU. Just lost his position on the field, came across the line of scrimmage, which you can't do.
Very close call, but too close for it to have happened in the BYU game. This time clearly across the line of scrimmage. Trying to connect with Matt Pryor deep in the end zone.
Love to see Pryor get a grab, get that monkey off his back when he dropped 2 catches against BYU. This was a guy in Pryor who had caught 10 passes a year ago and had a touchdown, 2 as a freshman.
Caught about 7,000 passes in his high school career at Live Oak, Suwannee County.
They're still talking about where to spot the ball because there's a loss of down. Here's our referee, and Rod Daly.
I think the decision is, do they want to take the holding call?
We have holding on the offense. That penalty is accepted. We have an illegal forward pass. Quarterback going beyond the line of scrimmage. That is declined. He's taken down.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I had a police officer at an intersection once that was giving me signs like that, and I couldn't figure if I was supposed to go straight or not. He was directing traffic out of the parking lot there. Bobby Bowden's.
Well, he thought it was even a little comical.
Yeah, there he goes.
That game face will come on real quick. Just stay right there. Now we're serious again.
Game face has been on certainly since the get-go, especially when they went west to California. They were all business out there. Weldon all business here. Another grab by William Floyd, who is hit quickly and dropped, hustling up Brandon Hamilton from the secondary.
You see how Weldon's having to go to his alternate receiver, his secondary receiver. He's trying to get the ball downfield, but Tulane doing a great job of keeping all the receivers in front of him.
That will be the final play of the third quarter. This one is 3 quarters through. Florida State, America's #1 ranked team, leading visiting Tulane 31-3. More after this from Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It does not get any better than this. Weldon and company leading as we enter the fourth quarter, Keith, 31-3.
It looks like a glamorous job. Stand back there, looks so pretty, throw that ball, and and sometimes you just get a little bit right where it hurts. No, Kendall, he'll be all right. He'll bounce up.
Kevin Janchek for Tulane, 253-pounder was the double five that was hit. You see Weldon a perfect third quarter, 8 of 8, 65 yards. And Tulane struggles again in this third quarter, as it did against Ole Miss.
Brigham Young only with 2 first downs in the entire half last week against Florida State, both of those on penalties. So far, Tulane with no first downs here in the third quarter on their end.
Florida State has had 2 drives of 14 plays. They opened this game with a single play shot for the tight end Johnson, but they've been quite methodical tonight and continue to build this lead. Here comes Sean Jackson trying to cut outside. He's met head on at the 30-yard line by Gilmore, the cornerback for Tulane, and stopped there. It is 4th down.
Interesting call, 3rd and about 12. Probably indicative of Florida State offense throttling down a little bit, although 4th and 11, they're going to go for it. Look for something downfield. They may try to get it all here.
Bobby Bowden to try to hit a strike. Baker, wide left. Weldon gunning deep, and he missed everybody. In the vicinity was Sean Jackson out of the backfield. That is a play that FSU popped against Tulane in the Dome last year. They hit it to Bennett. Not this time, however, to Jackson. Injured player hobbling off for Tulane. That's Darren McGowan, whose sister, by the way, and Linda Ann attended FSU, played basketball here. The Broncos of Western Michigan come this way next week. You can see that game both on Seminole September pay-per-view or on Sunshine Network's delay broadcast throughout the Sunshine State. We invite you to join us here in Doak Campbell as the Seminoles will be gunning for their 3rd win of 1991, trying to stay atop the national polls. That is not easy to do when everyone is taking shots at you. Duncan still at the helm. Chance Miller, his lone setback. Tulane down 31-3, 1st and 10. Miller managed to turn the corner. Oh, he was driven deep out of bounds, and up there to make the stop, Willie Paldo, who backs up Kirk Carruthers on the inside. There's Big Will as we check in once again with Barry Milligan.
Well, Paul, I know Casey Weldon a little disappointed in not leading the Seminoles to another score, but that'll be all for the senior on the night. He'll have to be satisfied with 249 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Brad Johnson will come in to quarterback Florida State on the next offensive series.
And it was a Johnson-Weldon duo that doomed Tulane the last 2 times these 2 teams met a year ago in New Orleans. They both played about equal in that game. 2nd and 7 from the 33. Calling the play at the line of scrimmage. Nearly out of time. Duncan gets it off and gives the ball inside to Harold Dennis, the tailback. And Dennis, maybe a yard or so. Ken Alexander, the sophomore linebacker from LBJ High School in Austin, Texas, on the stop. You see Putman in there. Alexander, Paldo, the inside linebackers in this stacked defensive scheme. Might go to the nickel here, Keith, 3rd and 7.
Yeah, Bryce Abbott in there, number 23, calling signals. Definitely in the nickel.
3rd down here, trying to hold on to the football. Needing 7. Out of the shotgun. Duncan, here comes the heat. He's being chased. Can he get it away? Well, he has to hot-foot it out of bounds. The man hot on his heels was Todd McIntosh. And there's pushing and shoving going on at the Tulane sideline. McIntosh at 268 had a load of steam. And 2, when Duncan went in there, off times to defensive back won't know where that sideline is.
Well, you can blame this one on Duncan. He got to the sidelines, and then he tried to juke and get upfield. You see Greg Davis there upset with his players.
Corey Broadnax was the Tulane player he shoved. That is a game face if I have ever seen one.
Very intense. You're going to watch Duncan get over to the sidelines. He gets flushed out very quickly. See some great speed there. He's going to get to the sidelines and then try to turn upfield. That's Derek Brooks, number 10.
He got blocked into the bench too by Rod McDowell. Rod McDowell blocked him into it. Maybe we'll get another look at that. Bobby Bowden has thrown down his garnet and gold hat in disgust. He did not like the call at all. Well, a break for Tulane, although the video evidence doesn't bear it out. It more supports Bobby Bowden.
First down for Tulane in this half, again on a penalty. Operating in Florida State territory.
Yeah, spotted at the FSU 46-yard line. Duncan play action. Cox floats it. Downfield for Urson. He can't make the catch. Penalty marker down. We may have pass interference. Should. Errol McCorvey was with him stride for stride. Let's take a look at that last play and see if number 11, Rod McDowell, does not block Derek Brooks, number 10, there into it. Rather than McDowell, it was 31 Steve Ballard that rolled him in there.
See a Tulane player coming off the sideline right there, number 20. Duncan a little more out of bounds on that review than I officially.
Defense. We penalized 15 yards from a previous spot. First down.
Little sloppy now. Back-to-back plays. Errol McCorvey, the pass interference call.
Watch McCorvey trailing as he tries to run down Urson. Evidently, the pass interference call was called a little earlier once the ball originally left Duncan's hand. There's clearly no interference there. Nevertheless, first down Tulane.
31-3, and the line of scrimmage is the 31. Florida State leading. Duncan trying to put double digits on the board. Throws, and it's caught at the FSU 15-yard line. Steve Ballard, a diving grab. A gain of 16. I like this junior from Metairie, Louisiana. He can really hold on to the football. Dinkins was with him.
He's going to cross all the way back across. Dinkins picks him up. You see 89 do a 360, but he just can't stay with him. Great touch by Duncan and a great grab by Ballard. You got to be impressed with his effort tonight.
For Duncan, that was his 9th completion. He's thrown for better than 100 yards now, making only his 2nd start. First and 10 at the 15-yard line. Running hard. Directing traffic. He's got to get rid of it. Gets a block inside the 10. Hammered to the 9. He gained 6 yards on that play. Reggie Freeman, the outside linebacker for FSU, along with help. Is that John Davis? Aldo is down. Is John Davis in the game? Aldo's shaken up and being attended to by Randy Orovitz, the FSU trainer. Jack Marucci out there, too, from the training staff. And we'll pause as well. 31-3, 12.5 minutes remaining on opening night in Doak Campbell Stadium. Willie Paldo still on the field, the Florida State linebacker being attended to, racked up when Billy Duncan, the Tulane quarterback, drove the ball inside the 10.
They're looking at his left knee. Willie Pardo, number 48's left knee. We'll see if we can get a look at it here. Duncan gives a pretty good lift right there. You see, oh no, you see him turned all the way over. Number 48 in Garnet turned all the way over on that left knee. Watch Duncan do a good job of eluding one guy here and then turning upfield. Watch 48. Get that left knee just turned underneath him. But he's up and walking off. He's just not happy.
Limping badly is he. Kurt Carruthers and Marvin Jones have been reinserted into the lineup. Marvin Jones has 10 tackles in this football game tonight. 2nd down and 3. Miller dives close to the first down at the 6-yard line. Marvin Jones has 11 tackles. He made the stop. Official timeout with 12 minutes to go in the game, and they'll bring the sticks over from the far side of the field, the Tulane side of the field. Considering this is a very young team, Keith, a 41-point underdog, a rebuilding program, I think that Tulane can be proud of the effort they have shown here this evening against FSU.
There certainly hadn't been any quit in this ball club. They've come after Florida State, and they've not let up. The intensity's still just as high as when the game started.
Well, for Tulane, misfortunately, they got the left foot spot rather than the right foot. The game of the week on Sunshine Network, live at 1 o'clock next Saturday, the Aggies of Texas A&M will take on the LSU Fighting Tigers, who found the going tough today in Athens, Georgia, but we wish Curly Hallman well in Baton Rouge. The Ags and the Tigers, those two do not like each other. Should be a pretty good football game, and you can enjoy it on Sunshine. Third and needing less than a yard against the roar. Indo Campbell, Duncan must run the play. He has the first down. The quarterback sneak calling his own number and lunging inside the 5. First and goal for Greg Davis's young team.
Tulane almost, well, actually halfway through their 8th quarter without a touchdown. Just a simple quarterback sneak to convert the first down. First and goal at the 4.
They did not score a touchdown against Ole Miss. Have been held to one 35-yard field goal by Gary Butler in this game. And Tulane registered their first 6 of 1991 now. Chance Miller won't get there. He's to the 4-yard line. Kirk Carruthers filled the lane. Notice how he cuts back in Miller. Well, Carruthers stayed at home and filled the lane pretty well, didn't he?
Carruthers doing a good job of working laterally down the line from an outside position. Florida State probably going to come with some kind of stunt, not necessarily a blitz, but slanting the lineman one way or the other and try to get through some seams. Only 4 yards of real estate to separate that football from 6 points.
Ballard left, Urson right, Miller. The lone setback for Duncan, working at the 4. Miller, no ho-ho. And now Tulane has Florida State's defense believing they can hold them here. This has been a prolonged effort by Tulane that began all the way back near their own 35-yard line. This will be the 10th play approaching.
Levon Brown, number 31, working from the left side of the line of scrimmage, slants in on a pinch technique and gets a hand on the foot of Miller, enabling him to make the tackle. Miller not to get up ahead of steam.
Goal line defensive scheme in there. That unit for FSU.
Look for play action, look for man-to-man coverage in the secondary.
Timeout Tulane. Facing 3rd and goal from the 4. And the Seminole war chant, rather loud. It's timeout Tulane. Duncan over to talk to his coach. We'll be back in just a moment on Sunshine. 31-3, Florida State's defensive pride trying to assert itself here and hold off Tulane. And listen to the crowd in Doak Campbell Stadium.
There's the picture example of the natives being restless.
Our producer, Tom Hastings, obviously, has stepped out of the truck and into the stand. 3rd and goal at the 4-yard line. Very loud for Duncan. He throws it into the end zone for Urson. Incomplete. Buckley was there defensively. 4th and goal. Man coverage, Buckley on Urson. A timing route trying to float it over Buckley's head. Terrell had his back to the quarterback in Duncan. Timing so important, just jumping into the corner, they could not connect.
End of the play there. What you do there, Buckley watching Urson's eyes. When Urson's eyes get big, Buckley finds the ball. Some cheerleader during part of his career here at Florida State.
I like that. Timeout, Tulane. That touchdown means a lot to them. We mentioned the fact that when they lost last week to Ole Miss, 22-3, they did not register a TD. They want one badly here, especially with a very young quarterback. We'll be back in just a moment. welcome you back to Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee with Keith Jones. I'm Paul Kennedy. Barry Milligan down on the field, reporting from the sidelines and returning from the sidelines is sophomore QB Billy Duncan. The 11th play unfolding now following the second timeout taken by Tulane.
If Duncan's smart, he'll try to get this play off quick and not allow the crowd to get any louder than it already is.
4th and goal at the 4, and he's going to throw the ball. Into the end zone it goes. He's got a touchdown. A great grab, a great toss, and Jay Young was there on the receiving end. What a throw by Duncan. Perfectly played. There defensively, it appeared to be Corey Fuller. Terrell Buckley in the area too. Another look.
Watch the touch on this ball. Actually not very good, but lays it up and able Young to get under it. Buckley, if he were a designated hitter in the American League, he'd be batting 500.
They went for 2 and got it. Scoring is Chance Miller. And Tulane now trails 31-11. Even the Seminoles were a bit unsettled. A quick snap by Tulane caught us, obviously, and the Seminoles flat-footed. See if we have it here again. A trick play.
Exactly. Muddle huddle. Offensive line off to the left-hand side.
What was that again?
Muddle huddle. Here's your touchdown throw. Watch Buckley get out of position. Young goes up and makes the grab. Sometimes you can get a little excited during this ball game. This little game called football.
Duncan has to be excited. That is his first touchdown pass of his career. That is the first touchdown reception of fellow freshman, or rather freshman, Jay Young's career, and it means a lot to Young. He's from Pensacola and tradition-rich Escambia High School. And to come home and score against top-ranked FSU, Young will remember that play the rest of his life. Butler kicks it deep. And Tiger McMillan from his goal line is prowling across the 10, 15, 20, stumbles to the 24-yard line. The 4-yard pass. Duncan to Young. The extra point, Duncan to Miller. 11 plays, quite patient, 422 it covered 3/4 of this football field. For a guy who could hardly get the snap away when this game began, he has grown up a lot.
Out of bounds on the defensive team, 1st down and 10.
Late hit, ruled against Tulane. 1st and 10 as the ball is marched off. It'll be spotted upfield close to the 40-yard line. And Brad Johnson will be Bobby Bowden's new quarterback with just under 10 minutes remaining. Brad Johnson, the 3-year letterman, the senior, 6'6", 215 from Black Mountain, North Carolina. He was the starter a year ago and is now the 2nd quarterback in this multiple quarterback arsenal for FSU. Floyd and Jackson behind him, and here is Jackson cut down for a loss of a pair by Shane Wiegand, the linebacker, who reacted quickly for Tulane.
This Tulane defense not willing to roll over and play dead. 9:30 left in the contest. You know, it's interesting, Florida State, Coach Bobby Bowden, the master of the trick play. We've never seen Florida State run the muddle huddle in order to try to go for 2, and they have it pulled on them. Tulane successful in converting a 2-point conversion on a trick play.
Number 81, the wide receiver to the top of your picture is Kevin Knox. Shannon Baker to the bottom of the screen. Looking out that way, it's really intercepted as Johnson hunted, or rather Brad Johnson hunted Sean Jackson out of the backfield. And in the flat, Rod McDowell narrowly missed the interception. He's a Florida native too, is McDowell, from Riviera Beach High School. Palm Beach Gardens High School, Riviera Beach, Florida.
Brad Johnson starting the first, I believe, 5 ball games last year for Florida State. You see his numbers there in 90, over 1,000 yards passing. Most of that year spent as a backup to Weldon, although he was the starter when the season opened.
Yeah, in the last 5 games of the year, he had but 5 completed passes, did Johnson. A lot of heat. Now, Brad is an athlete. He can fly. Look out. He got it away. That was caught across midfield at the 49-yard line by Lonnie Johnson, the tight end. And if he doesn't get a game ball in this one, they never get one. A huge night. Thornhill shoved him out of bounds, although Johnson was headed that way. And Brad Johnson to Johnson, Brad to Lonnie. Brad did a great job of getting that one off. He narrowly averted being flattened.
He's 6'6", but he can move. Watch him just set up and settle and deliver the ball very nicely. Johnson right there gets his left foot in, although the right foot was on the line in college. Only one count.
Marcus Vela was chasing Brad Johnson. 1st and 10, 31-11, FSU leading, and the football at midfield. Johnson cranks, fires, it's deflected off Lonnie and picked off. Intercepted by Tulane. Mike Stave, who just happened to be lucky and be in the right spot as the hard toss came off the hands of Johnson. 10 yards further downfield, there was Mike Stade for the first turnover this evening by either team. And the football belongs to Tulane, and that was not Brad Johnson's fault. That ball was right on target.
First interception on the year for Florida State quarterbacks. See Johnson set up. He delivers the ball well. It's just going to get tipped. Once it's up in the air, it's for anybody. That one was about 15 yards downfield. Stage gets an early Christmas rush.
1st and 10 for Duncan and company, operating from their 26-yard line. And the inside handoff is to Sean Fagan. Maybe a yard. We have word that Willie Paldo, the injured linebacker for Florida State, has been taken to the FSU dressing room. In fact, we can see him down to the end zone to our left, being carried on the cart just now, entering the tunnel. And his left leg is propped up. So he is obviously gone for the evening. We hope no more than that. Charles Herman leads Tulane out over the football. Their center, the loss of 1, 2nd and 11. From the 25-yard now, needing to crack the Seminole 32. Fagan off the right side. What Tulane is telling us now, Chief, as Fagan loses a yard, is that they want that clock to run and want this score to be respectable rather than putting the ball up into the air. Bobby Bowden is starting to play his reserves, and Greg Davis is saying, I'm not going to start throwing on every down, and have Coach Bowden start doing the same.
A lot of fresh faces in there on the defensive line and also in the defensive backfield for Florida State.
Pass rush for FSU are coming out of the shotgun. This will be a pass. The play being called at the line of scrimmage. The blitz is on 2. Look out, Duncan. Well, he got it away, but he got it away so quickly. He overshot everybody. The heat was coming quickly. Kirk Carruthers was blitzing. Hey, let's check in with Barry Milligan as he has a report on Paldo.
Thanks, Paul. I talked a few minutes ago with team orthopedist Tom Haney, who told me that Willie Paldo definitely has some form of ligament injury. They aren't exactly sure the extent of the injury right now. They've iced down that left knee, and it's just a wait-and-see kind of thing right now. He said the main thing is to see how much swelling occurs in that left knee. But he will be re-examined tomorrow morning extensively to try and find out the exact extent of that ligament damage.
That'd be a shame. A sophomore from Willie Paldo, if he was lost. Twin receivers to the far side as you see in your screen. The man from Florida who caught the touchdown pass, Jay Young, is to the top of your picture. In the slot, number 1, Wilbert Urson. 3rd down and 7. The heat a second time. Carruthers coming. What a grab by Ballard in Florida State country at the 47-yard line. Incredible. Steve Ballard does it again. Duncan just hangs it up there, and somehow Ballard has the football.
Ballard will remind you a lot of another Tulane receiver by the name of Mark Zeno, who set the NCAA career receiving yardage mark during his career at Tulane. Great extension. Not bad coverage by Corey Fuller, but just a little more determination by Ballard, and he brings it in, converts the first down for Tulane.
Ballard, that is reception number 6 tonight for 112 yards. The gain is of 24. Duncan Guns it his way again. Out of bounds, 32-yard line. Flagged out, however, in the backfield. We may have holding. Seminoles are clapping, saying that's the case. Holding, yes.
Tulane doing a good job of getting Ballard isolated, recognizing man-to-man coverage or single coverage and getting Ballard isolated.
Holding against the offensive team. The penalty's enforced from the spot of the foul. First down, over.
That's a new rule change too, Paul. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see if we can see it up front. You see right there in the middle of your screen, a little hook right there.
That is a hold.
A couple of plays earlier, we saw Ballard do his extend and receive number. Great extension, great concentration, catches the ball. New revision of the rule, Paul. They do call the holding penalty from the spot of the foul and not the line of scrimmage.
Dennis on the wing. Miller now, the lone setback. It's first and 24 to 39. The screen is to call. Chance has it. He has interference. Ahead of the 40, upfield, 44-yard line. Not a bad call there. Got your 5 yards. Second down and 19 remain, however. Carl Simpson, the defensive end, with help from Big Marvin Jones, who has been all over the field tonight. Florida State's number 55. You know, Coach Bowden was saying that he thought Tulane would play this team very well. That although FSU was favored by 41, that was a slap in their face. All the writers were saying, hey, we better have a lot of notes for this one. It could get out of hand early. You're going to play a lot of people. Well, the starters are still in there for Florida State right now with 6 minutes to go in the game, and that's a tribute to Tulane. Todd McIntosh on the stop. Inside of Miller. The number ones are still out there, and all the second-teamers and third-teamers and scouts in garnet and gold that expected to see action tonight. It just hasn't happened, has it? Five and a half and counting. That's left in the fourth. This will be a win for FSU. They'll go 2-0 on the year. But Tulane has made some progress in its building program. Duncan against the four-man rush, floats it down the field, and Young has it deflected. Nearly intercepted at the 25-yard line by Errol McCorvey. McCorvey doesn't have a lot of flash, as does Buckley. He is not as fast, but he's very, very steady. And he was with Young that time. Fourth down. And Clark will punt. Again, a 10-man rush. Clark will hit this inside his 30-yard line. A bouncing snap. A low-line drive punt. McCorvey will have a return from his 23. Right up the chute he comes, and then someone lassos him around chute top. And he is taken back at the 28-yard line, and from that point, Florida State owns the football as Brad Johnson returns the second time to run the Seminole attack. A 5-yard return by Buckley that followed a 36-yard low-line drive punt by Chip Clay. Scott Sanchez for Tulane, the reserve tight end, was the Greenway player who had corralled Buckley on the top of his cleats. 5:09 remaining as Johnson just now joins the huddle. Tiger McMillan becomes the third tailback for FSU, and here comes the Tigers. First down, 49-yard line as well. A gain of a quick 20 for Tigers. The redshirt freshman from Kissimmee, Florida, the 180-pounder, and the state of Florida's high school player of the year 2 years ago.
Now, unlike Amp Lee or Sean Jackson, this guy's a jitterbug. This guy's got moves on a 5'10" frame, great speed.
Paul Moore, a new fullback in the game too. Here is Brad Johnson dumping it to Paul Moore. Moore on the little fullback screen did a great job of feigning it as if he was staying in the backfield for pass protection. At the last moment, Johnson, above an on-rushing Green, dumped it to Moore, and Moore carries the ball for a gain of 15. 35 yards for the Noles and 2 snaps.
See him move upfield and then just sneak around. Johnson does a great job of eluding the rush, and just wide open spaces up there. Moore very adept at catching the ball, as are all of the Florida State running backs.
See Brad in limited duty. And their pass is caught over the middle. McMillan inside the 30 to the 27. Vela, the linebacker, on the stop. 4 minutes remaining. And the clock winds. 31 to 11. Gain of 9, 2nd and 1.
Works once, let's do it again. 2 times, this time to the tailback. Just a little circle route underneath the linebackers, hoping to break something once they receive the ball and turn upfield.
Matt Fryer, the Seminole receiver, to the bottom of your screen. The deep toss back to McMillan. Hit hard at the 24, runs through that tackle inside the 20, inside the 15. And he fights all the way down to the 12-yard line. Lee can carry the ball. Jackson is affected, and Tiger McMillan, too. Just another weapon for Bobby Bowden. McDowell on the stop from the secondary.
Watch him explode through this tackle. Doesn't want to go down. Good blocking upfield. Just goes right through the arm tackle. Another couple of shifty moves and touched the ball twice and 36 yards.
Kevin Knox flanks wide to the right side. Play action. Firing. No. Open was the receiver in the flat. Paul Moore, the fullback, was off his fingertips. 2nd down. That stops the clock with 3:12 showing.
Chief Osceola looking on. Just a little bit too much for Paul Moore's outstretched hand.
Got a reception a moment ago for 15 yards on that little screen. Is he used again here? 2nd down. Johnson right over the middle. Spot. Touchdown. A tight end. Warren Hart. The 3rd touchdown tonight for Warren Hart. The 4th for Seminole tight ends. Lonnie Johnson had one to open this game. That might be a Seminole record. 4 touchdowns by your tight ends under Bobby Bowden. Keith, you've been here longer than I. Can you remember a game like this?
I don't ever remember one where the tight end has been so effectively used so often. We've had situations, especially with the Reggie Johnsons of the world, where the tight end has played a valuable role on a 3rd or a 4th down, but not this consistently. 4 touchdowns in the tight end position. Mowry converts the extra point.
Your score, 38 to 11 in Tallahassee. Just 3:06 to go. Smiles and laughs all abounding. 61,000 folks here. One of the largest crowds ever in Doak Campbell Stadium, and the Noles are rolling. 38 to 11 with 3:06 to go. Brad Johnson has just found tight end Warren Hart for his 3rd touchdown reception of this game. He has 3 catches, Keith. All 3 have been TD. I'm looking at FSU last year. I don't think a tight end caught a touchdown pass all last year. Neither Johnson nor Roberts caught a touchdown all last year. The ball is bobbled at the goal line by Brad Dupree, and Dupree is going to find trouble. He doesn't reach the 15-yard line. That's the case. Oh, Brad Scott, the offensive coordinator, was bemoaning the fact that they were down to Warren Hart and Lonnie Johnson, and that was it this evening, that neither Brad Lundstrom or Matt Plato, who are trying to redshirt, would be available. But this has been an incredible night for Hart and Johnson. Here comes Duncan, who tonight in this ball game has thrown for 153 yards on 12 of 22 passing, and he has 1 touchdown strike to his wide receiver and Jay Thomas as well. Beginning deep in his own territory. Sean Fagan, the lone setback. Duncan guns it over the middle, and there is Wilbert Urson upfield for a 1st down on the big gainer up to the 34-yard line.
Completion number 1, Wilbert Urson.
Less than 3 minutes remaining.
Florida State playing very soft defensively. Tulane, if they want to move the ball, should try to move it underneath, not go up top with intermediate short routes. I tell you, Greg Davis and company have got to be proud of the effort of this young team coming into Campbell Stadium, #1 ranked team, 60+ thousand.
He can keep the Noles under 40 points. That's a great moral victory for him. Duncan was leveled when he let it go, and the intended receiver in Dennis out of the backfield took a shot too. How Duncan gets up, I don't know, because he had a helmet hard on his chin that was delivered by Reggie Freeman for FSU. Watch this lick that Duncan takes.
Again, we talk about them being the glamour boys, and yeah, it's kind of nice and they get all the interviews, but right underneath the chin.
Man.
That hurts up here. We want to borrow Casey's Big Bird Band-Aid.
Freeman has spent a lot of time with young Mr. Duncan tonight. 2nd and 10. And the toss. Dennis, the 35, lost the ball. It rolls out of bounds and will stop the clock at the 36. He wasn't going out of bounds, was Harold Dennis. But the lick that was passed, delivered by DeAndre Clark, caused him to cough it up. You can hear the wind come out up here when the ball bounded into the FSU bench harmlessly.
A lot of folks in there now on the defensive side of the line that's gone through fall camp, the BYU game, haven't gotten a lot of playing time. They're tired of beating up on their buddies, so to speak. It's good. It's hard hitting, even late in the ball game, still going out there. DeAndre Clark there, number 91, trying to play himself back into a playing position or a contributing position.
Bryce Abbott calling the defensive alignments now. Richard Coase in that secondary, the backup free safety. A lot of fresh faces, 2:25 to play. Trailing 38-11. Duncan trying to put some more on the board. Lost the ball as he went down. They said his arm was in motion. Guess who it was that caused him to go down? Try Reggie Freeman.
I think Reggie's decided he wants to be an offensive back. He just wants to be on the opposing team's back.
In their backfield. He certainly has done that. Tulane's last win on grass. Been a while, has it not? Pretty good rivalry they have with Ole Miss. Ole Miss won today, or is winning right now, I should say, over Memphis State, who beat Southern Cal. The strong right foot of Chip Clark sends it toward Terrell Buckley, who made the fair catch. Fortunate he doesn't get a timing call there. The 27-yard line, a punt of 38 yards. We will have our third quarterback in Charlie Ward for Florida State into the game, the sophomore from Thomasville.
Coach Brad Scott said yesterday, he said, if we get a chance to get Ward in there, don't go away. Just don't leave. Just stay right where you're at, because you never know with this guy when something's going to happen. Don't even blink.
He said, don't take a commercial break. He was playing producer. Let's see if he's going to let him throw it. Well, the bootleg, he will let him throw it. Look at the speed to hit that corner. 35, 40, 41-yard line. What speed to find the corner. The FSU point guard on its fine basketball team. Its third-string quarterback. Letterman as a punter a year ago, watching turn the corner. Gilmore and Thornhill on the staff.
There's no way anybody's going to tackle him from the lateral move or from behind when he's in the open field. He's just an amazing, amazing athlete.
Marquette Smith is your new tailback, too, the fourth tonight for the Seminoles. With 1:44 to go, they lead 38-11. Marquette carries the ball to midfield, spinning to the Tulane 49-yard line. Little number 4 is quite a package. The high school player of the year in the United States last year stayed on the step.
Only about a 5'8" frame, but plenty of power and plenty of agility and great speed. The one thing the coaches are highest on Marquette Smith about is he seems to know where people are on the field. He's already got that sixth sense where he can tell where things are coming from, where people are coming from, and what can develop.
Felix Harris joins him in the backfield. The Noles have used 8 separate running backs, 3 separate quarterbacks. Charlie Ward to the 39-yard line. The QB. Thomas, the free safety. Made the tackle for Tulane. A lot of folks have seen action tonight late in the game for FSU.
If it works one way, it ought to work the other. Just trying to get Ward outside. If there's anybody open, he'll throw it. If not, he becomes a dangerous threat in and of himself.
For Tulane, their next game will come a week from tonight when they line up in Starkville against rejuvenated Mississippi State, the same team that beat 13th rated Texas today. Less than a minute remaining. Complete from Ward to an embattled Shannon Baker at the 30-yard line of Tulane. Oh, about 6 inches shy of a first down. The executive producer, Sunshine Network, is Dave Olmstead. Our producer director tonight, Tom Hastings. And you see the other members of our outstanding team who have worked to bring you the Seminoles' historic home opener of 1991. We're proud to be a part of this. The first game Florida State ever played on its campus, ranked as America's top team. 49 seconds to play. Here comes Marquette. Trying to get outside. He does! To the 15-yard line. 16 yards for the tiniest Seminole.
There's just no way that you coach this kind of run. This is just athletic ability and taking advantage of the God-given talents that you possess.
A first down for the Noles, leading 38-11. Marquette will test the left side, lowers that head, and is hit hard at the 14-yard line. We've seen Ampley, Sean Jackson, Tiger McMillan, Marquette Smith. At the tailback position, Edgar Bennett, William Floyd, Cole Moore, Felix Harris. At the fullback, Casey Walden with 3 touchdown strikes. Brad Johnson threw one as well. Charlie Ward, the QB now. This will be the final play of victory number 2 for FSU. Ward to Marquette. Marquette at the 10. Marquette to the 5. And out of bounds with 1 second to go. It won't be the final play. Gilmore shoved him out that way. Oh, the crowd you can sense here. And the majority of the 60,000 fans have stayed in this stadium, the 61,801 that were here, the 11th largest crowd in FSU history, have stayed around.
Wonder who's going to get the ball.
It might be little number 4, and it might be a fake to him and the quarterback. And Ward keeping it. We hope to visit with Coach Bobby Bowden after this. Barry Milligan standing by to chat with Coach Bowden and congratulate him on tying Jeff Nealon for number 7 all-time victories among coaches. Here is Marquette for the end zone. He does not get in. The ball game is over. It ends with FSU knocking on the door. The number 1 team in America has won again. Florida State over Tulane. For Coach Bobby Bowden, victory number 206 his career. More from Doak Campbell Stadium in a moment on Sunshine Network. Florida State has beaten Tulane, and Barry Milligan is standing by with Coach Bobby Bowden.
Thank you very much, Paul. Coach Bowden, this is a team that just won't quit. If you look at the numbers, it seems like a very dominating win, but a tough game tonight.
Well, it was tough. Tulane had a very good scheme, is not to give us anything deep. I've never seen a team that laid back, and wouldn't dare come up and take away stuff, and so they made us live very slowly.
Good preparation, though, coming off a big win over BYU.
Well, yeah, I'm glad to win the ball game. That's always more important than anything else. I was disappointed the way they moved the ball on us, but maybe we can learn from it, because that offense is the same one that Michigan uses and the same one that Miami uses, and it gives us fits.
Now, towards the end of the game, an electrifying performance out of Charlie Ward and the youngster Marquette Smith. It seems like the talent is just never ending.
Well, we do have some good young runners, but we had Tulane down, you know. Charlie's going to be in the battle next year for our quarterback position. He and Kenny Felder and some of the younger quarterbacks. So I'm glad they were able to get some action tonight.
Anything special you'll do now in preparation for Western Michigan, perhaps looking ahead to a week off or West Carolina, preparing for Michigan?
No, nothing different. We'll just get ready for Western Michigan. Won't even think past that. Then if we get that one, then we got 2 weeks to get ready for Michigan.
Congratulations. Bobby Bowden, number 7 all time on the NCAA coaching list. Paul?
Thank you very much, Perry, and he has to be proud indeed of this. His Seminoles are 2-0 before 61,000 here tonight. 38-11, your final in Tallahassee.